Ladies and gentlemen, due to circumstances beyond our control, we are unable to continue our broadcast of dance music. We shall continue now with our piano interlude.
We are being hypnotized by people like this. Newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous.
Oh yeah, dude. This is some Nephilim shit.
It's like we all know what's going down, but no one's saying shit what happened to the home of the brave. These motherfuckers, they controlling us now, and no one's talking about how they made us not to be slaves. And everybody's just walking around, heading the clouds, who wanna wake up to a dead in the grave. But then it's too late, we need to be ready to raise up. Welcome to the end of days. Everybody is slaves, only some are away.
Welcome back to Nephilim's Death Squad, guys. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That's Top Lobster. Before we get into it, I just want to remind everyone to go to either patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad or the new website, nephilimdeathsquad.com. Sign up for all kinds of perks like early access to episodes before they drop, discount codes for merch, and all kinds of fun crap coming your way. Today, we are joined by Brad of the Awaken podcast. Brad, can you tell the people a little bit about what it is that you focus on and where they can find your work?
Yeah, what's up? Thanks for having me, y'all. Appreciate it. Yeah, you can find me at theawakenpodcast.com. If you want to reach out, awakenpodcast.com/contact. Find me on Instagram at theawakenpodcast33. And if you want to hear something, stuff about like vibrations, energy, frequency. Is
that an ice cream truck?
Yeah, that's my that's my time to bid on a Bryce Harper baseball card. So,
this guy, he's serious about it. When I heard you on Tinfoil Hat, you're like, I kind of like baseball cards, but this guy has timers to bid on base. Okay, we're dealing with something different here. I like this.
Yeah.
Before we started the show,
I do a little bit of everything, man. But
I gotta say, like, we were geeking out a little. I was geeking out a little bit, and it's like, I don't know. I'm a fan of Brad. I like what Brad is doing. For some reason, I'm like, yo, your aesthetic is sick. Your topics are sick. The quality's sick. I'm excited to see what the hell you're doing, because you just like you busted in, and I was like, this guy's doing cool shit.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. It was accidental, man. I talked to Tony Merkel about some stuff one time, and he's like, you should come on the show. And I was like, oh man, because of my background, I was a little afraid to, because I used to be in the military. I had a job at a pretty high level. And so I don't want to get fucking murdered or anything. So it was one of those things where I was like, I just kind of got thrust into it, and I was like, fuck it, let's go. I mean, I've been thinking about doing it for a long time anyways. So just rip the gloves off and start fighting some fucking Nephilim, man. That's what
That's a hell of a way to come out the door. He's like, yeah. I went on Tony's show, and then I said, maybe I'll do a podcast. It's like, what?
Nah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's not like that, man.
Wasn't it like the very next move for you? You ended up on Tinfoil Hat. I was just listening to your episode with Sam Tripoli and the boys, and it was a tremendous episode. You have like you're not, what I like that you're doing is you're not pigeonholing yourself into like one specific thing. It's clear that you're just interested in all of this sort of phenomenon. You happen to be pretty knowledgeable on the 33rd parallel, which is a lot of what we'll be getting into today. But like your interest is kind of all over the place. It's very much in alignment with us, right? It's like there's a whole body of strangeness out in the world. And, to me, it's like if you don't find this thing interesting, this whole, this backdrop to our reality, you're kind of retarded. It's the most fun stuff.
I'm kind of thinking, I was like, why do we even do this show? Because I felt like we were doing this show because we were the only guys that kind of had this, like, we're kind of interested in everything. And now Brad's doing this. So I was like, maybe we should stop.
Maybe
Just
we
let
should
Brad
stop.
do. Brad, he got it covered, man.
Nah, dude, I'm just interested in like, so I've I've already been down the conspiracy rabbit holes. I've already been down the paranormal rabbit holes. There's definitely paranormal shit going on. So that's not a question to me. So instead of not wasting my time, but instead of like focusing on like, different stories and stuff, like listening to all these Bigfoot shows, they're all great and they're all very topical on Bigfoot and stuff like that. But for me, man, I want to know about like where the fuck these things are coming from. Who are they? What are they? What are they doing here? The whole so that kind of led me down the path of like, okay, what are we? Led down the path of spirituality. It's like, what are we? Who are we? And why do these things just come in and out, and they come in and out of our reality and they just disappear? So like it led me down the path of like consciousness, frequency, energy, vibrations, things like that. So that's interesting stuff to me, man. I mean, everybody has their own thing, but for me, it's like I want to know, like, there's all kind of crazy shit, and I'm gonna have a lady on talking about crystal skulls tonight. I got a few other episodes dropping soon, but like I just like talking to different people about making different connections. Like I'm talking to a guy tonight named Cody Tucker, who's pretty famous on Instagram for making connections on which family members are in Hollywood are connected, and like Jeffrey Rush used to be roommates with like Mel Gibson and shit like that. So I'm trying to make the connection there on like star seeds, like energy, like why are these families, why are these people like how come it's only a group of certain families and people and connections that continue to thrive in the stardom world?
Yeah. Is it, you'd have to ask him about RH bloodline, because
Is it RH negative, right? I think that's it.
I forget. Someone in the chat will correct us, but like that's like that Nephilim shit. That's that ancient blood. He's writing it down, or he's just saying a bit on Bryce Harper again.
So I probably lost that bid, dude.
Sorry. Yeah. So when he's like, I can't believe I lost this bid. I came on this dumbass show to talk
No.
Yeah.
No, I buy and sell, man. I buy and sell. I'll flip them. I'll buy a car for $5 and sell it for $500 sometimes. It's just hitting the market. It's like the market, dude. That's what it is. It's like the stock market. It's like Bitcoin. It's crazy.
Dude, there's a grift in everything. So RH negative.
Yeah, RH negative. Thank you, Jin.
I feel like this dude, right? Because it's weird. It's like me looking into a funny mirror, but what comes back is like a ginger white dude. He's a designer. You were sort of in politics, right? Like
not. I wasn't in politics. I was in the military, and I had a job.
I thought you mentioned
I had a job
that, like,
working for.
You ran a campaign for whatever, or you volunteered or something like that.
No, I just I'm a big Rand Paul guy, so I worked for the Rand Paul campaign, like briefly in the state of South Carolina, helping answer phone calls and set up different meetings with local politicians and stuff like that. But that wasn't really it was a short-lived thing because he didn't run for long.
Yeah,
but that was whenever Trump was running. So
what I mean is that like you're kind of like me in a sense, because I was in the libertarian space almost doing that, like, and then I realized like we skipped that whole middle part where we're like, oh, politics might fix this, all the way to like, dude, it's spiritual stuff. We're under spiritual warfare. So all that stuff in between, I skipped. I'm seeing my like what, because it's basically the same path how you get to this wherever we're at, and you're doing it. My grift is t-shirts, your grift is baseball cards. It's a whole different thing.
It's funny because I stopped there for a little bit. Like I was at the Occupy Wall Street movement. I was at the tea parties when they were doing the tea parties. But I only did that like for a year. That's all it took for me to be like, wait, you guys aren't talking about aliens. Like, why aren't you talking about aliens? I don't understand. Shouldn't you be talking about aliens? Aren't you guys aware? And when they weren't doing that, I was like, I'm not talking to them anymore. And I stopped. But that's when
I should have got out.
That's when you should have got out. That was a long time ago, too. When was Occupy Wall Street? 08, 09? And I was like, this is retarded. What I discovered there was that it was primarily like homeless people and like just disheveled hippies. And there was a few promising, articulate, well-informed people there, but they were like the very small minority of that movement. And really, when you're in there, like when you brought me to the libertarian event in Georgia, it reminded me of that. It was the same thing. It's like, this is Occupy Wall Street all over again. Mostly these are well-meaning retards, and there's not much to be done here. It's a shame. And so then you move on. But you know, when,
Yeah,
when it comes, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I would go further and just say a lot of them are just paid actors to be there. So I mean, just as they control the movement, the government controls the movement of everything. So, you know, it's like, how do they get the same fucking signs? I'm a designer. I'm a graphic designer, right? It's like, how does everybody get the same signs? It doesn't. First of all, it can't be spontaneous, because to print a sign sometimes can take 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, depending on how busy the print shop is, right? Sometimes even longer. And then all of a sudden, these spontaneous movements are popping up. That's the kind of shit that like led me down the path of, you know, that was the conspiracy stuff that I was like, hey man, something weird's going on here. You know, when I started seeing the things from the marketing perspective, web design, search engine perspective, like I saw this shit, the censorship back in like 2008, 2010, 2012. So it's been happening for a long time, dude.
I see people respond to those things a lot, where you'll get a post and someone will say, hey, here's a recruitment ad. Or like, hey, we need bodies for a protest. We need bodies for a movement. We need bodies for a demonstration. And when you show up, they'll just equip you with whatever sign, T-shirt, you know. And yeah, I imagine there's a monetary incentive or incentive.
My cousin in New York, who like politically, we're diametrically opposed. She's like Bernie Sanders socialist, but she runs those. I don't understand like her job. She does run these kind of like, whenever there's protests, she's one of the people that gets it organized somehow. And this is like bad protests and shit. And I've told her that I hate her, but I was like, I respect what you're doing, because she's a fucking like, it's an event. You were at the comedy club event thing. Like there's shit, There's people buzzing around to make sure that event goes down. And that's small stuff, but that's what a protest is. And there's someone that's paid there to like fucking manage. Like at one point she's like running through the protesters, giving water to make sure everyone like plays their part, whatever they fucking trained for. Yeah, so none of this is organic. It's just paid, operated by Jewish people or Nephilim.
Now you hit it. That's it, dude.
I want to say something because we're about to shift gears into this 33rd parallel stuff. But interestingly enough,
I feel it. We're like,
we're about to do that. We're about to yank the wheel. So interestingly enough, if we were to have called that event a Nephilim Death Squad show, that would have been number 33, and I was really pumped about that. And then I realized as we went forward, I was like, technically this is something different, and we ended up calling it Bohemian Grove. But we met you at that event, and I just want to say for the audience, for all the greedy and broke people who didn't want to pay for the episode, it is dropping. We had to tuck it behind a paywall because Tripoli was putting it behind a paywall, but it's about to drop. So keep your eyes out for that, guys. We're probably going to be dropping that this weekend, but we met at that event, and that was around the same time. Like you had just talked to Tripoli. You were just on Tony Merkel. Things are moving rapidly. As a couple of guys who feel like, you know, I look at Top sometimes, I'm like, this thing is moving so rapidly. I think you're probably like experiencing that maybe tenfold, just based off of the crazy moves and how quickly they've been happening to you. But, you know, you talk a lot about this 33rd parallel aspect. And I guess a good place to start talking about this would be, what do you mean when you say let's get rudimentary for the retards. What do you mean when you say parallel?
To be honest, yeah, that's one of the things I always heard about 33rd parallel. Don't know what the fuck it is. So if you could start there.
Yes.
Yeah. It's hard to, first of all, I'm going to be doing a documentary about this. That way I can help explain it in the video better. Me and my little brother, maybe a couple other friends, we're just going to do a road trip and just make it happen. But it's basically 80 miles wide, and it goes from 33.0 to 33.9 degrees latitude on the globe or flat plane, whatever you want to call it.
This way. Yeah,
it goes north, right? North of the equator. That's what that means. And so
you're saying it's flat. You're saying it's round.
I don't know. No. I'm saying I don't know. It
works
it's
on
a
both?
straight line. You know
that line will work on both, right? A globe model,
a flat model. Right.
No, because the flat Earth model it's weird. It's stranger. It's laid out different. You ever seen it? It's the UN logo.
It's like from the top view, right? Am I right about that?
Yeah, but no, I'll show you. Hold on.
This is the one where it's got like the hole in the center of Antarctica, and that's where like the black sun in Hollow Earth is projecting kind of our sun and moon. It does work. There is a way, because I've seen it where the latitude and longitude lines just kind of adjust.
So this is turning into a flat Earth episode somehow.
That's kind of what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you see how it is laid out different? Where like South America might. So I guess 33rd parallel that would be the circles.
Yeah, it's the line. It's a straight line, dude. I mean, in fact, it looks like that. I can't show you on my screen, but it looks like that middle one that goes from shredded wheat southwest to northeast. The one that goes from north. Yeah, it looks like that one kind of runs across it, whatever that line is to them. But it could be a lot of things. It could be a former equator line. The Earth is tilted on its axis, allegedly. If you believe in if you believe in the circle Earth or the flat or the globe Earth or whatever you call it. But it's energy lines. That's all it is, man. It's telluric currents that come from the center of the Earth. If you believe there's a center of the Earth, that is magnetic energy. Like, our Earth is electromagnetic energy. Everything that we are electromagnetic energy, right? We are electromagnets and we produce electricity. And so does the Earth. And these currents come up through fault lines. They come up through, volcanoes. They come up through springs. So that they kind of, when they come up to the Earth, you remember we already have an we have a magnetic field from the Earth, right? And it's constantly being compressed by the sun. And what happens when these other currents come from the Earth? They kind of swirl around on top of the Earth, the layer, the crust on top of the Earth and within the crust. And it kind of jolts, it kind of jars the electromagnetic.
Can I ask you something? The electromagnetic current that compresses the Earth, it's like around it's being compressed by like light from the sun on the atmosphere, that kind of thing. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, the sun has its own magnetic field that it's pushing out.
So it's pushing against.
Yeah, it's pushing against.
What if there was no sun, theoretically? Like if the sun was blocked out by clouds created by the government, what would that do to the electromagnetic field?
I don't know. I mean, it would to me, it would alter, allegedly it keeps out the rays, the harmful radiation. It blocks out, it filters out a lot of this radiation from the sun. That's what our magnetic field does. I don't know that it would do anything. I really don't. I mean, it could just, because right now what happens is the sun pushes against these currents, right? Or these magnetic fields, and these magnetic fields kind of compress onto the Earth, and it causes them to spin into little vortexes, right? Which creates these little, that's why a lot of paranormal stuff happens, around dawn. That's why, or is it, what's the one at night? It's dusk or dawn. I can't remember.
Dusk.
Yeah. But are you talking about when we're talking about like 3? You know what's weird? Okay, let's just take
3 a.m.
Did I tell you what happened to me at 3 a.m.? Did you hear it on
the show?
I'll be really quick with it, dude. So I have sometimes this, events that everybody has them sometimes. You get a creepy event. It happens at like 3:30 in the morning, right? And I have this dream that I am in a big, feels like a hotel room, and there's a car in the hotel room. It doesn't make any sense, but like some of my homies are in the car. I don't recognize them, but I feel like I know them, and we're just kind of chatting it up. And all of a sudden I look over to the other side of the room, and there's like kind of a traditional looking witch hag woman, right? Like she's stringy hair, very thin, emaciated, and horrifying. And I look over to her, and I look to these dudes, and I go, "Do you see this?" And they're like they're just horror stricken. They're completely frozen in fear, and they look like they've seen death. And all of a sudden this thing starts making its way towards me, and the room is like vibrating with fear. And I'm looking at her, and I'm like, oh, like it's gripping me so hard, dude. It's so hard, but I won't look away. But I'm hit with so much fear. It's unbelievable. And this thing is like just coming towards me, and I'm refusing to look away, but everything is shaking, and everything is fear dialed up to 10. And this thing is coming closer to me, and I can feel that it's agitated that I won't look away. But I'm like everything in me, I'm staring at this thing, and I'm screaming at the same time. And then I can feel it's unsatisfied. This is the sensation that I get. It's unsatisfied with me not looking away. The lights cut out. When the lights cut out, I'm like, fuck. Like, I know this thing's going to do some real scary shit. Lights come back on. It's in my face and it's screaming and I'm screaming and it's screaming and everything is vibrating. And I get up and I'm like, this thing starts doing this, dude. It's like, it backs away from me and it starts going, ah. And it's doing this like teeter-totter thing and it's horrifying. So I just start feeding this bitch uppercuts, just bang, bang, bang. Every time it does a teeter-totter thing, I uppercut it. It feels like I'm hitting a 2x4. It's just made of wood and I'm teeing off on it. And then finally,
Turns out it's my wife.
It's my wife. I'm just fucking her up, dude. All of a sudden, in my mind, I finally realized, like, oh, call on Jesus Christ. So I go to open my mouth and I go, Jesus Christ. Like, just this little whisper comes out, which is funny because that's probably what was happening. Like, I'm laying in bed and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. And as soon as I do that, this thing falls away and my wife wakes me up. And when I look at the phone, it's 3:35, but it takes me at least a minute or two to look at the phone. And I am willing to bet that when I woke up, it was 3:33 in the morning. And I just laid there in the dark. Like, and then I was fucking terrified to go back to sleep. And I laid there until like 5. Every time I tried to go back to sleep, I'd think about that bitch doing this shit. And it was like my whole back all the hair would stand on end. And I would just
say, David, I'm so glad I'm not you, because I don't have these kind of dreams. I think I'm just preoccupied. My kids are 3 and 5. They both have lice.
You don't even
wild
sleep,
out here, bro.
dude.
I don't even sleep. I'm about to burn this fucking house. I'm sorry for the cursing. No, we're at the end of it, thank God. But yeah, I think that's why, like, I'm not getting these kind of, like, I don't know.
Dude, I hope you don't. But there's something about 33 across all spectrums, right? Brad, I'm sure you're aware of this, where it's like, it's not just this 33rd parallel where all these events of high strangeness happens. And it's like, maybe you can start to explain some of this stuff in a way of like energy and frequency. And I'm sure that that's applicable, but like
100%.
It stretches to, it's like Jesus died at 33. There's 33 degrees of Freemasonry. 3 in the morning, maybe 3:30 in the morning is the witching hour, right? There's like all of these different things that seem to be.
Can I just say, I really like how Brad went from, because I've heard a bunch of 33rd degree guys, and they'll tell you like this happened here, this, and they're historians. But Brad went from like 33rd degrees, like, okay, and right into frequency, magnetics, resonance, vibrations. And I'm like, that's the fucking smartest move to do, rather than like look at it superficially. You're looking at it like, why? But then that kicks open the door to like, well, what was Tesla doing? You know, do Rife machines work? Like, this is wild. It's wild. So let me actually plug fucking Matthew Rife.
Oh, Matt Rife's machine. Yeah. And this is a good one. 33 vertebrae in the human spine. Like, what is this? I heart being white.
That's Rife Technologies. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, I saw a hat today. It was a Faraday hat. Have you ever heard? Does he sell those?
That's a good idea.
He sells. I have his EMF blanket over there, but he doesn't. He doesn't sell. I put my phone in a Faraday box. You remember when we had those that broadcast signal the government put out? That's a whole another story. But yeah, I do own one of those. Go ahead, Brett.
Go ahead. What?
I missed it.
I thought I cut my shit off, dude.
He reaches.
We're watching a man
place back.
Place back. We're watching a man struggle with addiction. That's what this podcast is. This is actually an intervention.
Nah, dude. But you mentioned first of all, there was a lot of stuff that you talked about there. I had a similar thing happen to me. Tony told me like these fucking things come for you. Things start happening to you when you join the fight, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd heard a lot. Even my local preacher told me that. He's like, asked him specifically that. I said, did stuff start happening to you? He said, oh yeah. He's like, demonic things start coming at you. I was sleeping the other night, and it had to be around 3:00 in the morning, and something in my half dream. I don't know how to say it. It was like a half sleep, half dream. I mean, half sleep, half awake thing. And it like pressing. It was like a dark shadow, and it was pressing down on my shoulder and smashing my face against the bed. And just like you did, I was like, Jesus. And then it fucking like, it just like backed off. And then I started fighting it like a fucking Fortnite character, just fucking just throwing things at it. You know what I mean? So like,
These guys must be terrified. Like in our dreams, they can create something that's kind of scary and fuck with you. But when you are able to control your dream, that's why they say like angels study humans because of basically what we create. Like they look at us and they're like, oh, these things are cool. You know what I mean? It says that in the Bible. So, and it's probably because we could create. In your dreams, you turn into a Fortnite character and started whipping this thing's ass. How embarrassing! You got to go back to your demon buddies and be like, I was trying to fuck with Brad, but. Yeah, he turned into a Fortnite character. Then he said,
started teeing off on me, bro.
He whipped my ass.
Dude. So, okay, all right. But with this thing that I had the dream about, I started thinking about it, and it felt like, imagine being in a haunted house ride, like an amusement park ride, and here comes the monster. It's on rails. They have like a thing, and it's on rails, and they slide it out to you, and then it does like a like that's when I was teeing off on it. I remember like when I woke up, I was like, that thing distinctly felt not real, because I feel like so many.
Are you telling me that they're like, is the demon budget like lower because
it's
of
very
the
low?
It's super low at this point. I think maybe it's not that it's low, but maybe it's spread out so far across America. They're like, send David the mannequin again. Like we can't even get a real demon to come and do this dream tonight.
I almost feel like that's what's going on, and it's like, you know, they're just there to collect loosh. And they don't know what to do when you start teeing off on the apparatus. Like when you start hitting the prosthetics, they're like, shit, man, I don't know. Just make it do the jump scare thing. Cause that's what it felt like.
Just guys pressing like buttons.
Yeah, dude, it felt like it was hitting buttons. It was like, he's not afraid. He's not looking away. It wanted me to look away. And I was like, no, I'm not looking away. I'm scared as shit, but I'm not looking away. And then imagine being a guy who's like, all right,
first off, that inclination is psychotic. You realize that, David, right?
What's that?
If somebody wants you to look away and David's the type of dude, just be like,
that's how I felt, man. And I was like, there's no way. I knew it wasn't, for some reason, I knew it wasn't good to look away. And then when that wasn't working, it was like, okay, they hit that button and the lights cut off. And then it did like a jump scare, like a real jump scare where like the lights cut off and the lights cut back on. And now it's in your face. And then that didn't work. And I was like, bitch. And I started just hitting it. And, you know, so I don't know. The whole thing felt really, really weird. Like the only purpose was I was being provoked into giving off some of that energy. You know what I mean? And that's what it looks like in hindsight.
The last time this happened to you, didn't you like mock whatever this was?
Yeah. So I had like, I don't know if I cursed it out.
Have some humility.
Dude, I don't know. I don't control these things either. You know, like I'm much more like an onlooker when I have these dreams. But anyway, let's diverge from my schizo shit and go to yours. So that's
a great line. Somebody clipped that. It's like, what's this show about? It's like, we're gonna diverge from our schizo shit, and you can go to yours.
Go to yours. So all right, let's go back to this whole energy and frequency thing, because Brad, I'm sure you're well aware. It's like there is always this notion of.
Oh, you cut out. There you go. This is what he's talking about. 30-minute mark. Go ahead, unmute yourself. You got it. Nope. Anyway, now we're going to have to pick up the interview from here, Brad. We were saying, like, I don't know how to interview people. That's why I have a second co-host.
Okay, I'm back now.
He's back.
That's so weird, dude. I don't understand why this is happening. It's a half an hour in. I got to fix this problem. Very sorry, guys.
Yeah.
So, you know, everybody's familiar with this idea that in certain locations on the planet or on the plane, that there are thin spots in the veil, and in these thin spots where thinnies, and this is where these entities they penetrate our realm more easily, I suppose, than other places, and it does seem to require a lot. And that's the other thing too, is like with these entities, it seems to require a significant amount of energy to do anything. So. Yeah. To go to a place that's energetically charged where the veil is thinner seems like that's opportune. That fits like this narrative, right?
They're lazy. Yeah.
So that's what I was trying to say about the currents that are flowing around the earth. So Native Americans call these spirit lines, and they call them spirit lines for a reason. And almost if you go over to Europe, all the churches, all the castles, everything, basically ley lines. They can be connected from volcanoes, from Like there's a reason, for example, where in Tennessee, where the was it help me out the
the particle collider.
Oak
yeah,
Ridge.
Oak Ridge. So Oak Ridge is on top of a fault line, a major fault line. So is Charleston, which is where the area I'm from. And so basically what's happening is these energies are coming out and they're constantly flowing around the earth. And when the day and night turn, when the earth shifts, or when the sun goes away, it kind of creates.
For the sake of the argument, explain it the rest of the episode as if everybody does believe in round Earth, because I don't want to keep getting caught up on flat. I don't give a fuck. It's probably flat, probably round. Who cares?
I don't know. Whatever it is, I actually think it's a flat Earth. But it comes like, I think the firmament is a prism, and I'll try to get there eventually. But it's like God's light is the sun, and the sun is shining through the prism, because that's how they create telescopes. Telescopes are reverse prisms. They're reverse spectrograph. They're called spectrographs. They're reverse prisms.
Go check out I think your first episode with Ed Mabry. Banger. We're having Ed back on to run through the book of Revelations. He already said yes, but continue. Yeah, because you were talking
he's an
about
amazing
like, the
dude,
sun
man.
And the speed of light. I'm sure you talked about
Yes.
So ties right into what's going on here.
Yeah, so to me, God's light is the sun. I mean, if you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, which is the visible light we can see, that's us right now. So everything that you can't see is infrared, for example. That's a slow vibration. Microwaves, radio waves, those are slow vibrations. They're barely moving along. Everything we can't see on the opposite side of that is ultraviolet rays, X-rays, gamma rays, right? They're super hot. They're fast. They're vibrating at a super fast frequency, or a very high frequency. And so what we are, we're made in God's image, and God is light, and we're right in the sweet spot. It's comfortable here. It's warm. It's perfect. In hell, it's super hot. I mean, super, super dark and super cold, because it's, as a matter of fact, when you want to use like a telescope, like the Lucifer telescope, for example, it has to be cooled down to minus 200 degrees just to be able to use it. So in other words, it has to shift itself into a super cold environment just to be able to see these demonic entities that what I assume they're looking at and communicating with or whatever. So to me, if you're looking at the electromagnetic spectrum, you're literally looking at hell. That's what hell is. It's dark, it's cold, it's slow vibrations. And what do they always want to do? They want to keep us at a very low frequency, which is fear. Fear vibrates at 4 hertz. So that's a slow vibration. And if we're on the spectrum closer to the dark side, which is no light, right, and slow vibrations, if they keep you in fear, they can easily attach themselves onto your. That's how they get into this world, that, in my opinion, right? And then it's same with on the higher realm, the higher vibratory. I just think it's another dimension. I'm just going to call those demons as well, because those things that come in are usually UFOs, right? They have high radiation, just like I said. They're radiating obviously a lot more energy than we could process. So they vibrate into our reality they slow their vibration down to come into our reality. And what do? They're trying to make hybrid aliens to populate Earth. That's what the fuck they're doing. So both sides are trying to hijack our bodies in some way.
Hey, Brad, are you like a fan of this synesthesia? I'm not a fan of it, but like,
what is
you study it?
I'm not sure what it is. It may be called something else. Like, I don't.
Synesthesia is the unique ability for people to correlate colors with sound, or sometimes taste with sound. Like Jimi Hendrix had it, Pharrell Williams has it, Neo has it. A lot of people, you can go down the line, especially songwriters, singers and stuff, they have it. But the interesting part about that to me is when you look at colors, so you're a graphic designer, when you're looking at like RGB, that's like a computer screen light. So you're perceiving the color just because of how fast or slow it's vibrating. Somebody is in the world, they call it like not a disability, but like you have this thing, like it's almost like a mutation. But really, to me, it's a gift, because they're going to hear a sound, a vibration, correlate it to a color, another vibration, and they're making that connection seamlessly. So it's like synesthesiacs are probably closer to, I don't know, like if you want to communicate, or some kind of clairvoyance, or some kind of like weird matrix in this world, they're already connecting that dot on a very important level. That's why I brought up the.
That's Pink Floyd's album cover, right?
Yes.
It's like this. What is it? It's a prism. It's showing you right there on the front of the on the screen. I got a prism right here. So what happens is you shine light through a little slit, and the slit focuses the colors into one little pattern, and then it comes through here, this prism, and it refracts the colors into separate colors, the colors of the rainbow, basically, right? Mm-hmm. And so when you cast a shadow on that, I could take this pen and cast the shadow in front of the prism instead of showing, you could put a piece of paper in front of this prism and it'll show the rainbows. The RGB colors, right?
Yeah, and when you're talking about being hotter on one side and very cold on one side, it's vibrating more or less. And you have the rainbow R, red, that's infrared, and then violet at the, ultraviolet on the other end of the spectrum there. And then there's beyond that we can't perceive. But that's all vibration stuff. And but then you could see it. We could see that little bit. The same way, like even in music, if you listen to Indian music, there are not just half tones, which will be like white key to black key, but there's like 3 steps in between that because they're deriving even more nuanced frequency. That's why it sounds weird to us. But there's a lot of shit in between C and C sharp. And it's the same. They're perceiving it on some kind of level. We feel it as weird.
Hey, Tom, I wanted to ask you real quick. What do you think about the idea? So synesthesiacs and this ability to connect one set of vibrations to another, right? As far as like sounds to color and associating them.
It's such a different thing. It's like comparing 2 different languages, not even like English to Spanish, like fucking English to that click language that they speak in Africa.
Right.
That's what they're doing, and they're translating.
But if everything is vibration, then really it's almost like they're the same thing, but some people have the ability to kind of eliminate the barrier between the two, right? So when you hear about clairvoyance, I wonder if that's just another form of eliminating the barrier between a different set of vibrations that we think are otherwise separated, but since all things are vibration and energy, they're just eliminating a blockage of some sort, or they don't have that issue, and so they're able to connect something into a spectrum and understand something that we don't perceive. It's almost like, because sometimes I go back and forth. It's like, are clairvoyants like communing with entities that they shouldn't be? And I think in some cases probably, but the only reason that they can communicate with those entities so fluidly maybe is because they just have a different, if somebody has synesthesia, then maybe there's a more technical term for what clairvoyance has or clairvoyants have. And they're just having access the same way, Pharrell Williams doesn't willingly associate color with sound, is the same way that a clairvoyant doesn't willingly associate, whatever it is that they're experiencing on a regular basis. And maybe that does give entities access to them, but it probably is just a different way of interpreting frequencies and energies that like other people have almost a blockage.
I think you guys are spot on with it, because most of these big, and that's what I'm going to talk about with Cody, is most of these big celebrities have alien encounters. And, a lot of these musicians talk about, they just pulled the music from the air, like Led Zeppelin, what's his name? Robert Plant.
Check out Rain Man with Eminem and Jay-Z.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah, dude. That was a huge one. When Eminem dropped the album, Rihanna too. When Eminem did the album Relapse, and he did a song, I think it was called 3 a.m. And it was the first time where he started like outwardly talking about the entity that he sold his soul to. And it was Rain Man. And it's the same one that, these big music industry elites were dealing
Jay-Z
with.
Song with
Jay-Z,
Rihanna.
yep.
He's like,
Umbra.
Rain Man's back.
Umbrella.
Sunshine, Rihanna. Wait, yeah.
Yep.
They constantly mention.
And then there's this
always
thing
talking about this dude.
There's Umbra, because she would break it up in the hook. She'd go Umbrella, Ella, right? So she would go Umbra, Ella. And it was like umbra means shade or shadow. It's a word that is used in a different language. It might have been Latin to describe demons, and umbra is a shade or a shadow. And so she's literally like chanting this over and over again. But yeah, man, the industry was gripped by this entity called Rain Man for the longest time. And it's like there's a lot of different ones, but Rain Man was specifically
he got the best shit. He's
well, no, he was good at women and money and and I think like influence or something like that. And so like that was a thing because these entities, they can promise you a thing for a price. And the thing that this thing could promise you was like money, women, and might have been fame, which makes a lot of sense.
Which
I think all this shit, man, like you don't want to have too much success in anything. There has to be a balance in the world, right? It's like, we still live normal lives. I still coach Little League Baseball. You guys still do y'all's thing. And I can also do this. But it doesn't define, like, we're not celebrities. We're not going to be celebrities from this. I don't necessarily want to be. I don't know about you guys, but because I feel like something has to be sacrificed. And you look at all these top, Dre and all these guys, they had, Kanye had to sacrifice his mom. Dre had to sacrifice his son, right? I mean, I could be wrong about
had to
that,
sacrifice those cheeks.
Damn, boy. It's not even that. It's like
Michael Jordan with his dad, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
We do experience celebrity on a small level, and it's like for me, it's maybe 3 years where if you go to a certain event and then people know you from there, the way they treat you is a lot different than how they treat you normally. And to me, I don't like that. That's like a curse on its own. But I understand that, there's nothing I can do about it. Like once you build a certain following and then people, and especially if I'm talking to David constantly, so people like have a weird relationship with you that you don't have with them. It's unnatural. So imagine that on a huge, like on a Jay-Z level. How do you even be a person on that sort of level? It's a fucking curse.
But I don't think those people have a vested interest in being a regular person, or else you wouldn't be doing these spirit cooking events with me, Marina Abramovich, and all this other crazy crap. So some of them definitely lean into it a lot harder. But yeah, Brad, I think you're absolutely right. There is a sacrifice to be made.
That's the personality that would trade it, right? This personality that just doesn't give it. They're trading their humanity is what I think I just said. They're trading their like what makes them a person for whatever they get back, and then we wonder why they're doing shit that people don't do.
Right, and I want to say with this Diddy thing, I think the only thing that made Diddy special is like how far are you willing to debase yourself? Are you willing to engage in terrible, debaucherous behavior? Are you willing to have a man killed? And are you willing to do terrible things to people? Like, if people think like, oh, why did it happen to Diddy? What makes him special? Like, nothing makes him special. He's just willing to do terrible things and toe the line, and that's pretty much it. And that,
kind of gives
most
you
people
concern.
aren't.
It's like they'll let them play the game until they say no, and then you want to way out, and then your way out, they end up dead. So you're looking at Epstein. Did Epstein say no? Like, was there something that was too far for him?
If like, Epstein is even dead, sometimes I think that motherfucker's not dead.
No reason for Diddy to get busted like this for no reason right now. It's like he said no.
It could be either that he said no, or that eventually a lot of people owe you, right? Because you're the guy that everybody goes to for favors. And if enough people owe you, and enough of those people become incredibly successful, because you don't know where you do a favor, a greasy, dirty favor for somebody, and then 10 years down the line, you don't know who they become. They might become a person who has more leverage than you. And if they don't, well, maybe them and like a few other people who owe you, maybe together they have enough leverage. And maybe you look at hip hop and you look at Diddy standing in hip hop and you go, hip hop's kind of dying on the vine right now. And Diddy's an old legacy, right? And so if you remove him from the board, well, there's a guy who 50 people owed a bunch of favors to. You don't know him anymore. He's gone.
Yeah.
So, I think it could be as simple as that. It could be just good business.
I think when you do anything for yourself, that's when the sacrifices has to be made. That's when you give up your soul. But when you start living for God, man, when you start doing God's will and do everything out of love. When I went down there to Florida with you guys, I didn't know you guys, didn't know anybody there, but man, everybody made me feel welcome. And I love that so much. Like I've been missing that in my life. I think I've been looking for a tribe to vibe with, right? It's like, it feels like everybody's doing things out of self-interest all the time. And in the moment I meet you guys, like, hey, we got to have you on the show. Or, Juan from One on One was like, man, you're awesome, dude. I got to have you on the show. It's like, I don't want to be on the show necessarily. I just enjoy being around people who care about others. You know what I'm saying? And as long as you keep doing that, you letting be a vessel for God and let him use you for good and love, I think you'll be fine, man. But
dude, shameless plug. Join the Telegram, join the website, Patreon, or join, because on our Telegram, that's what we're doing. We've collected
Yes.
like 50 something people, like retarded people, but they're all like, it's a tribe and they're all moving in the same way. And we say it all the time. Like I look back at the chat now and I was like, oh, they built another section. Like they're building a small city. They're trying to organize a Bible study within this. It's cool as shit.
And
So
the
it's
whole
like,
time they're like glorifying. It's all about God, really. Like you see these people,
Right.
and a lot of them come from different denominations, and they're like, "Hey, I could see what you mean," or like, "Hey, I never thought about it that way." Like, there's a lot of nuance in the chat, and I want to say this, and then I want to ask you a question, Brad. I want to get your thoughts on something.
Go ahead,
I
one sec.
don't necessarily know that you are going to have an answer for this, but you probably will find it fascinating. But before I get there, I just want to say I feel the same way, right? When you're looking for like a tribe to vibe with, things started going really well for me when I started like proclaiming Christ out loud and started to let me mute his mic. Can I do that? Boom. That's awesome. And started to find myself in a position where I was helping people find their way to God, which wasn't even necessarily the intention. I was just showing people interesting things and they ended up coming to the same conclusions that I did. And so, okay, let me unmute him so that he doesn't.
Sorry.
No, that's all right. I muted you for a second. I just didn't want you to get on and start talking. But so I definitely feel that way. It's like if you want something for yourself, you have to sacrifice something. But if all you want is to be in alignment with God's will and to help people go in that direction, then whatever God sees fit to provide you with, he will provide you with. And I'm not even going to say you're definitely going to have all the success in the world, but I think bringing people to God and moving in a way that's in alignment with his will, you'll be taken care of. I don't know what that looks like for everybody. I'm not going to say you're going to get this or that, but like it's definitely improved my life dramatically. But what I wanted to ask you was, all of this 33 sentiment, it echoes throughout our reality in the weirdest ways. And one of the ways that I find most fascinating is that a third of the angels were cast out of heaven, right? And a third is very frustrating in mathematics because it's just 33.3333. It's a run-on number. It never ends. But it
was just recently solved or almost solved or something, right? It was like, that's the only number in the entire number system that couldn't be solved or something.
It's
like that.
Weird. It's very strange. It just goes on forever.
They didn't solve that shit. That's like
solve shit.
You didn't solve that. That'd be like, you ever see the Rick and Morty episode where he stands them on like the true level and he like goes, like he can't handle being that completely flat. They can't fix that shit. That's
but it is a fascinating number, and it is, when things like that are talked about in the Bible, like that is everything I think in the Bible is on purpose. There's no accidents. Everything should be looked at and scrutinized. It seems like every detail is very important. I talked on a previous episode when they were talking about burning the red heifer, and specifically the red heifer had to be burned on like wood of hickory and cherry or something like that. And it's like very specific. Don't forget to go to toplobster.com. Very specific, but I'm like, that's not an accident. That's there's an alchemical reason behind why you need this specific wood to be burned to turn this heifer to ash. And so when you hear like a third of the angels and a third is 30, I was just doing fractions with my son earlier, 33.3333, like that's specific and that's for a reason. And I wonder sometimes, like, is that the foundation? Maybe it goes further than that, but like, is the foundation for this shit the fact that a third of the angels got cast out?
Well, first of all, they fell to earth at Mount Hermon on the 33rd parallel, right? So, and also all these fucking things, all these people in Hollywood, politicians, they sacrifice things to the fallen angels, and they do it, and they do so. And they do because they're getting information, they're getting technology, they're getting medicine, they're getting everything that they can to be prosperous on earth while they're on earth. They're selling their soul in that way. And in turn, these things are giving them information. But what they'll normally do is they'll do a big sacrifice, like Ukraine and Russia, right? It's like the war is going on over there, if you believe the war is going on there. And then what is the number? How do they associate that with 33? Well, they want Ukraine to become the 33rd member of NATO, for example. So right there, they're like, all right, here's the sacrifice. We sacrificed millions or hundreds of thousands or whatever. And they do that with their stamp. Like here's the 33 stamp on it. Kobe Bryant, right? Plane crash in LA. LA's on the 33rd parallel. John F. Kennedy, 33rd parallel. Underneath the 33rd overpass is where he was assassinated.
Brett, not to interrupt you as you're talking right now, we're gonna forward you to Clint, because perfect episode on Best Political Show would be you talking to Luke about this shit and Clint just like saying, well, there's a reason for it. He's our friend that's political, and that we beat the shit out of him like every chance we get. But like this would be a very fun mental exercise for Clint. I would love.
I want to do that. Can we do this, Brad? Can you run through to the best of your abilities just the coincidences that are otherwise completely unconnected, not connected to each other whatsoever, having to do with events on the 33rd parallel? Because I want to show people. I've heard you say it before, and on this show we try to just jar our guests into not saying the same thing that they've said on other shows. So we try to just bombard you with shit.
Right, penis size, Brad. Go.
Let's get 33 inches. Jeez, man. Whoa.
5.33.
But the 33 is like 3. So
yeah, repeating. Yeah.
But let's go through some of that, show. Brad. Why don't you show me? Show us some of the uncanny coincidences that have happened in the 33rd parallel.
Well, honestly, it would take a 2-hour show, man. I don't want to do that to you guys, but because I've done that to Sam, I've done that to Tony. I felt bad when I was like, I just fucking
give us your bangers.
All right, man. Yeah. Like so
the best first school of all, shootings.
So first of all, the Bermuda Triangle is on the 33rd parallel, right? We'll just start there and go across the United States real quick. 33rd parallel, the 33rd degrees Scottish Rite. His headquarters in Charleston.
Another idea. I got to say it so that it's recorded here. Bookmark. We do on Tower Gang, we do like March Madness brackets. I think a 33rd parallel bracket would be cool. The shit that happens.
Which one was the coolest?
Which is the best?
Prophecy?
Yeah. All right, we're going to do that. I got to say, go ahead. Continue, Brad. Yeah.
So if you go across from Bermuda Triangle and go across the United States, you hit Charleston. Charleston is home of the 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason headquarters. It's like where they make law for Freemasons. That's the governing body for the Freemasons, essentially. I grew up outside of the Charleston area in the National Forest. Of course, there's always a National Forest tie-in, right? The reason why it's a National Forest is to mask what the energy levels and shit that's going on, the energy that's swirling around. They don't want nobody to be able to access this energy. My brother's house is right in the middle of my whole family's house is right in the middle of the National Forest. But my brother is in a very strange, even stranger place. And his house is a 33.333 parallel. He's literally right on the number. And he has a fucking, like, stuff happened to in his house. My niece we used to play with a dead girl when she was little all the time.
Hey,
and
you think that's why, like, Florida's weird? Because, like, for me to get to David's house, we can theoretically get there in 45 minutes, but it's an hour and a half because you have to go around national forest after national forest. There's so much preserved land. And it's a beautiful state. But I'm like, is there shit going on here? Like, Florida seems special.
Is Florida on the 33rd parallel?
No, but I think the 33rd parallel is just another. I think it's the main circuit. Like if you're looking at a like a software program from the inside or something, or like a computer from the inside, I think it's like a circuit. That's how I see it.
You know what
it
looks
mind.
like? Imagine you had let's just say it's a ball, whatever. Again, imagine you had that and like it's a circle, but you can open it and you can turn it, and that would be right about that 33rd mark, right above the center, and you'd spin it, and then you can open it and see what's inside. You close it, and it would be a ball, but it would never quite be a complete ball. It would have that line. It would be airtight, but it would still have that line. So that's what I'm imagining. The 33rd is it like if you just take the top off of the earth, put it back.
I wonder if it's. Do you think it's inherently? Because this is the way I'm thinking. I'm like, well, if this is something to do with the fallen, and this is an energy circuit, well, it stands to reason you can tap into it, which is what these elites, I'm sure, are doing all the time.
That's what they're doing. Yep.
Certain dates, right? Certain times of the year, they're accessing.
Day.
Right. And I'm like, do you think that it's inherently negative energy?
No, I think that it's just like a bigger, like an amp, almost like an amplification of something, right? So if you have negative intent, I think it can amplify the negative intent. I think if it's a positive intent, you can amplify the positive intent too. So
only the negative people are using this. It's like
yes,
the people. It's so bizarre. I had said on an episode previously, like, we need a global exorcism, and I'm like, how could you do that? But like, how you could do that is probably getting hold of one of these sites that has this immense power and actually like
that's what we're
God
doing.
Yeah,
that's what we're doing now. In my opinion, that's why I just said fuck it, let's go, because I'm like, every resonant frequency has a dissonant frequency, and I'm trying to shatter these fucking negative frequencies that they're putting out into the world. And I think they're using everything they can, man. They're pushing out all these major broadcast centers are on ley lines. Like, you know, Atlanta's the new Hollywood. A lot of people don't realize that. They do all the Marvel movies, everything there, Walking Dead, everything.
We were just there, and it's one of those places that I said, fucking hate this place.
Exactly. It feels haunted, right?
Feels horrible. Yeah. Every time, once I get into Georgia, sometimes I'm like, here it goes. And
Me too, dude. I do Georgia's the same thing.
Isn't it? I mean, it's like, it's beautiful. They have like, I like their trees better than Florida. Like, aesthetically, it should be better. But for some reason, I'm just like, I hate this place.
I used to date it. I agree, man. And I feel the same way when I go through Georgia. But I used to date a girl from Jersey. And when I go to Jersey, it was like that in certain areas of Jersey. I was like, this shit feels heavy, man. Whatever it is, I can sense it. I can feel it, whatever it is. But, you know, if you go, like I said, man, all these, the new Hollywood.
Jersey.
All right. Nothing wrong with Jersey. Yeah, nothing wrong with Jersey. But if you keep going down the line, man, from Charleston, you know, there's a lot of things that connect. There's like these giant crosses that start in this city called Lake City, which is home of a guy named Ron McNair, who was on the Challenger explosion, right? He was one of the astronauts that died on this. It's a town of about 6,000 people, and it's got a giant white cross there. But if you start there and just drive across the United States, you'll see these giant white crosses that look exactly the same all the way from here, or from South Carolina to LA. In the town.
You think that they're using that to harness like more positive energy? If it's
I don't know, man. I think it kind of. I got a message from Jack Merkel this morning. He sent me a picture of another one. This is Tony's brother. He sent me a picture of another one from like Virginia or something, and he's like, it's not on the 33rd. What do you think? But it looked exactly the same. So it made me think like, okay, maybe this is like another energy spot that they're marking, right? It's like, that's how I see it. Because if you look at the world as a grid, if you put a piece of grid paper on top of Earth, literally you could draw a straight line from Charleston all the way to LA. Like, it's like the capital cities cross that line. And if you go up and down, right, there's capital cities that cross up and down as well. And they all cross each other. It's not like a, you know, a connect the dot thing. It's literally like straight across and up and down. So, but if you keep going, man, like I said, if, you know, or actually in the town I live in, there's about 5 miles away, there was an area where a nuclear bomb fell from an airplane and didn't detonate, right? But it caused some damage to a local. It's called Mars Bluff. I make note of that because I want to talk about that a little bit earlier. A little bit later.
Somebody just dropped the nuke. I bet you that guy kept his job.
It didn't go off.
Just a whoopsie.
No, they got reassigned. It was a crew of Air Force guys. They got reassigned over to Germany. And
can you think of any bigger fuck up to do? Like, I dropped a nuclear bomb, whether it's fake or not, on like my country. And they're like, you're reassigned. They put you on desk work. That's government shit right there, dude. It's wild.
Well, you know what that is? That's like, we want to keep this guy. So when we do want to drop one and we want it to look like an accident, we're going to put this guy as the fucking pilot.
Fucking Gomer Pyle, right? He accidentally drops the damn bomb, but it didn't detonate. It didn't have allegedly it didn't have its charge. So it blew up, but it didn't have the the nuclear capabilities charged. So that's another weird thing.
It's another question. I don't want to go into nukes being fake, but like, yeah, that sounds like bullshit, dude. You mean?
I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in a minute. I'll talk about that in a minute, dude.
Okay,
so like, if you keep driving, man, there's all these, strange places. Like I said, if I don't know if you guys have had Shane Cashman on or not, but like Shane talks a lot about, he went to an area in Georgia called Washington, I believe, Georgia. And he had a lot of crazy shit. Well, Washington, Georgia, surprise, surprise, is on the 33rd parallel, right? It's like all these strange coincidences. A lot of folklore happens
that. I think this
Yes.
book or the second book. Yeah, go buy that.
I got
This
I
shit
think I
is
got
crazy.
the first one. Yeah, I got the first one. He talks about it in that book. It's one of the chapters in there. So, but if you keep going, man, if you get to Birmingham, and I'm kind of skipping over a bunch of places, but Birmingham used to be the headquarters of like there was like a NASA headquarters there, right? They've moved it since to like Huntsville, I believe. But when you get to Birmingham, there's of course the giant white cross, but there's also like a big Statue of Liberty. It looks exactly like the Statue of Liberty, but it's on a smaller scale. And from what I read, it was the same company that brought over the one from France over to New York.
And that thing is made of a certain metal. I think it's copper. It's supposed to be
highly conductive.
Highly conductive electricity, right?
And it's supposed to be silver, but it's green, or it's supposed to be like a bronze, right? Like whatever copper.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like bronze, but the way copper oxidizes, so like certain things rust a certain way. Like aluminum will get white chalkiness on it, whereas steel will rust.
You don't make that much fucking copper and not know that it's going to turn. That wasn't an accident. It needed to.
Oh
be
no,
that
yeah, they
type
knew
of
that
metal.
it was going to be. Yeah.
It has to be conductive. Well, all limestone is conductive, and what are all the Capitol buildings? They're made of limestone.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably
right on top of white lines, dude. Yeah,
I think that's a great point. What Top is saying is like, you go, I know this bitch is going to turn green, but like, we need this thing to be highly conductive, and so because if you were worried about just it standing the test of time, you would make it out of like, I don't know, fucking stainless, or you know what I mean, like something like that.
It makes me hate the school system because you go to school and they're like, can you believe they sent this? And especially in New York, I grew up in New York. They're like, they sent us these dumb Germans and then it turned green. Whoops. He's like, yo, dude, they knew. They're intimately aware of what this metal does under all circumstances, but it had to be there. It had to be. And then
if you get into what the Statue of Liberty actually represents, and it's like, you know, there's all this likeness to Lucifer, Liberty, the morning star, the torchbearer, the broken chains. If you look at the statue of Lucifer holding the crown and picking at his chains, he's like chained to a rock. And then you look at the Statue of Liberty. Some people say the Statue of Liberty is actually Mithra or I believe Helios. Is it Helios? There's a couple of different potentialities. A lot of these sort of fallen entities will bleed over into one another, but like that statue is filled with occult symbolism and is more than likely some representation of one of the fallen angels. So, that's interesting. Somebody said Florida sits on top of limestone.
Yes, yeah. So a lot of this stuff, man, like I said, they're doing it on purpose, man. If you keep all these limestone, granite, all these things that can conduct electricity, become a magnet or whatever. Like you can coil up wire around granite and hook it to AC/DC current, and it'll like levitate, move around a little bit. You know what I mean? So like the currents that are flowing, what is the pyramids made of? They're limestone, right? It's like, so when these currents coil up around these things, it's creating a fucking supercharged thing that can sort of break. Again, if you think about electromagnetic energy, it's electric and magnetic waves that are constantly coming right up to each other and touching each other. Well, what it does is it kind of separates them a little bit, and it creates a little gap. It creates a little portal, if you will. That's what I think of it as, in a separation in the electromagnetic energy that's holding this universe together.
And that's what you were saying. UFOs would use, like Bob Lazar said, the UFO would point its like whatever its thrusters this way and then suck itself or create a space in front of it.
Yeah, it had like an element inside the ship. That's funny. I behind this green screen, I have a framed picture of his UFO. No, it's his drawing that he did on Rogan's, and it's actually signed by him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Tony's got the same one.
Yeah, I think he signed a shit ton of them, and now it's not special anymore. But the idea was that he had an element on board. It was like element 151 or something that the periodic table didn't have, and then was later found to actually be a viable element. They recreated it in a lab, but an unstabilized version of it that fell apart. But this element actually had the ability to bend space-time around it. And so I guess it had a top and a bottom. And so you could angle this thing and it would pull itself through space-time. And if you put that on your craft, not only would it pull the craft through space-time, that's exactly it. That fucking highly produced thing that my friend told me was special and he got for me.
No. it's not highly produced. He probably signed a bunch of them so they're authentic. But let me show you something, or I can just read it to you real quick. You don't have to share your screen, but this comes from the Black Vault from 2012, FBI Black Vault, right? It says this is a declassified document that was dumped from a guy named Guy Hotel in 2012. This is back in from 1947. This was right after Roswell, July 8th, 1947. So it was right after the Roswell thing. And it talks about how, I'll just read it to you. It says, they are not excarnate earth people, but come from their own world. They do not come from any planet as we use the word, but from an etheric planet which interpenetrates with our own and is not perceptible to us. The bodies of the visitors and the craft also automatically materialize on entering the vibratory rate of our dense matter. Like that right there should tell you a lot.
Interesting.
That's why
Right?
people get sick when they're next to it, because it's probably vibrating at a frequency that is great for them to materialize, but horrible for us.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
So when people have these sleep paralysis experience, there's always this like accompany of a really intense vibration, right? But it's also the presence of these entities. So it's like they're popping in and out. The dream that I had, and maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill, but it's like this dream, the whole space that I was in was vibrating with fear as this thing like came towards me. And I was like, you know, like there's always a buzzing, an electrical sensation, a high intensity vibration. We were talking to, who was it that we were talking to, Top? And they were reading us sleep paralysis in the Bible.
Oh, our last episode, what's his name? Izzy,
yeah. That was great. And so in Job,
Job,
and he's saying that as he's beset upon by some sort of the presence of something, that he feels a vibration in his bones, that it's shaking his bones. And I speculated on that episode that maybe that experience, that vibration, is a byproduct of them entering our realm. And when you say what you just read to us there, it very much seems that way. It's like, yeah, when they show up here, like they don't just step through. It's not nice. You know, It's literally like they are pushing through the fabric of our reality from theirs. And that is accompanied with a pretty significant level of disturbance. And you feel that shit in your bones.
Well, look at this right here. This is levitating right now, right? This is a card display called Air Display or Airtime, which is a baseball card, or you could put any kind of card on display. What it is there's a permanent magnet that's floating, and underneath it is an electromagnetic field that's generating a push that's kind of just keeps it right there in that same spot. And so when they vibrate into our reality, they use these ley lines, these earth energies to travel, right? And so that's what they do. That when you move a magnet, if you do two magnets beside each other, watch how they move. They just do like this, that's the same thing that UFOs do. I mean, they just kind of just tilt, and you know what I mean?
I was looking for that scripture that's Job 4:13 through 16. He says, amid disquieting dreams in the night when deep sleep falls on people, fear and trembling seized me and made all my bones shake. A spirit glided past my face, and the hair on my body stood on end. It stopped, but I could not tell you what it was. A form stood before my eyes, and I heard a hushed voice. That's what Job is describing sleep paralysis.
That's a fucking hack, dude. In Charleston, there's a place called Rainbow Row where all the houses are painted like pink and green and all these different colors. And the purpose of it was to keep the hag out, basically, keep those evil entities out.
Yeah, I beat that bitch's ass.
The colors,
showed up and I fucking fed her.
Yeah, the colors were supposed to like repel the negative energy from entering your house. So Charleston's famous for Rainbow Row.
That's interesting because they're operating on a vibration and frequency, vibration and energy.
Dude, this is a crazy one, but here we go. I'm going to pull this up. Is HGTV Nephilim shit? It might be. Like if you think about the open concept plan that everybody's doing, and it's like my house is like this fucking white with like black and then silver. It's like there's a concerted effort to get these materials, reflective materials, and sort of same colors in all houses across America. What is that doing? And why? It's definitely
that's interesting
Nephilim shit.
too. Imagine the open house, because a lot of the the way that a house is designed, there's a whole school of argument where people will say like, well, it's to direct the flow of energy. You don't want to have like feng shui. Remember the old concept of feng shui was very popular in the
Chinese
90s.
shit, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, you want to design your house in a way that energy flows one way or the other.
Well,
Now, if these things are entering this realm and they're a form of frequency and energy, imagine having a house where like these bitches can't even navigate. Like they're getting stuck. You know
think
what I
about
mean?
like an old house, like the house I grew up in. It was like you had doors to get into places that didn't matter. Like, why the fuck they made a door in between like a hallway? Yeah, but like they were just constantly separating things.
Juke up these retarded biomechanical fucking grays that they're sending our way.
Well,
It's
you know,
possible.
that's why they do the iron gates at cemeteries to keep out, or to kind of keep
Yeah.
the entities in so they don't come out.
The door is
You know what I
a
mean?
portal. Tony says this all the time. Like you can go from one room and then into the next and forget what you were doing, what you needed, because you went through a portal that we created. This is a bullshit portal, but like it works. So I guess by putting that in your house over and over again, it probably has to dilute some sort of like passage, with these entities or whatever. And now my whole shit is wide open. I paid a lot of money for them to just roam freely in my house. Bullshit.
and not only that, man, we're overloaded with things that with frequency. I got a light, I got computer, I got a fan going, wind blowing around my room, Wi-Fi. So we're literally, it's like we have this like, hey, come on in. They can just come in and just travel around throughout our walls.
Oh my God. Yeah. All of this electricity and energy is facilitating their arrival.
That's why these things can affect your your camera when you're trying to take pictures of them and shit. That's why we can't get pictures of UFOs. They're affecting the fucking electronics of things. They can manipulate the energy and just be like, your shit don't work anymore. That's why people have problems talking about this kind of shit on y'all's show sometimes. Like when cameras go out and stuff.
Bigfoot's interdimensional, confirmed, straight up. All those cryptids got to be interdimensional because there's always that aspect of like the blurry creatures show, right? Why is it blurry?
Mm-hmm.
That's like the best.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
We can't see them, dude.
What we're doing is we are trying to capture images of them with a.
Oh, he's muted again. Well, I mean, we could break up the show into 3 parts so that we know, like when David is quiet, it's like, this is why. If we have any tech fans, help us figure it out.
Can you guys do me a favor and stop sharing my screen for a minute? Let me switch battery. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Oh,
go ahead.
yeah.
All right. Y'all can keep talking. It's just, I just don't want it to like, mess up because I know my battery's about to die on this thing.
All right. I gotta figure out how to. I'll remove you. Go ahead.
Okay. So
thank God he's gone, right?
We can still see him. Oh, he just took his pants off. What I wanted to say is that we're trying to capture images of them on a technology that like maybe they don't have a knowledge of the actual tech, meaning the mechanics of it, but it is run by a source of energy that they know much more intimately than we do. Right? Like, gotcha. I think that, could you hear me that whole time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I heard y'all talk about I heard y'all talk about my 5.333 inch.
Well, yeah, you grabbed it and started swinging it around, dude. Yeah. I was like, what is he doing? He's doing the helicopter. But, when it comes to us trying to capture images on video, on picture of these various entities, it's like they may not know the mechanical ins and outs of the device that we're using, but the juice.
Well,
they have an intimate relationship with it,
dude. The device we're using is like this is old Nephilim technology stuff.
So. That's what I just. Oh yeah.
What I just tell you about the infrared? If we're visible light and they're in the invisible light, they're literally in the radio wave, the shit that we can't see. Yeah. They're in the radio waves. They can affect this shit however they want to.
I would love to know if the chat can remember this. But there was a type of glass that was developed. They meant it to be the lens of a camera that was going to take maybe like, I don't know, I'm going to talk out of my ass here a little bit as I often do, but like they were going to take pictures of space and they needed a special lens that they had developed and it was made of a very particular glass. But if you look through this glass, you could just see shit. You could see entities. Yeah, you could see. Yeah. And it was like something very specific. I think it started with the letter P, but it's like you always get this trope. It's not a trope. That feels like a very disrespectful term, but like our realm is intrinsically tied into the spiritual realm. The spiritual realm is much more real in the grand scheme of things than this physical realm is. And it is not separate from us, but layered right on top of us. And we just can't perceive it. And yeah, so they had some sort of glass at some point that, I mean, imagine that they just, you go, oh shit, I figured out we can see demons now. And the government's like, like they kick down your door.
Is it called Super Hexa? Is that what you're talking about?
That doesn't sound familiar. I forgot what it was. That's interesting though. Pearl says that it reminds her of the movie They Live, right? Where he puts these sunglasses on and all of a sudden can perceive all of these, these much more terrible things. It was a night.
Hey, Brad, what do you make of that? That's actually,
yeah, I mean, it seems like it's pretty, that's why it resonates with so many people, dude. It's like,
it's right there.
To me, if it resonates with you in some way, if it has some sort of it's a reason that we don't maybe understand, but we just know it's right, and that's what I usually.
The idea of resonating, right? Because now you're using vibrational language again, and it is kind of that thing where I'll listen to some shit and I'm like, it doesn't move me. People say that don't move me. But then you listen to something else and you're like, oh, I actually feel like I'm being physically moved. Like it's resonating, it's vibrating inside of you because you hear the truth. And
here, can I give you an example of that? So Jordan Peele comes out with 2 movies. One does not resonate with me at all. Us. I don't know if you guys have seen Us, but it's like where it's a family and they're beset upon by intruders, and the intruders pull their masks off after they've got them in a hostage-like situation, and it's them. It's the mirror image of them, right? They live nice. There you go. And then it turns out like, well, what's happening is the government is got an entire cloning facility, and for every single person on the surface, there is their mirror image, screwed up, retarded version underground. And it didn't really resonate with me because I was like, what are they doing down there? Like there was a scene where you saw people on the surface on a roller coaster, and they're throwing their hands in the air and they're on the roller coaster. It's crazy. And somewhere in the depths under, in hollow earth, there are clones, and they're going like they're in a room by themselves in a dark room, and they're going like at the same time. And I'm like, that's so fucking stupid. But one that did resonate.
It's the antimatter. If we're vibrating and we're materializing, if we're matter, if our matter is vibrating up at the top of a frequency wavelength or the top of the wavelength, then what about all that space underneath? There has to be some, like if you put your hand up through a trampoline and push up, right? That's kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, what about the antimatter? What's doing the up part of it, right?
That was too smart for me. I don't know. I never think about that.
What are we resting on? Like we have more shit under us.
Well, it's as above, so below. So if something is affected in our realm, it's going to be affected in the other realm too.
Like the upside down?
Yeah. Like if we blow up something here and create a crater, it's going to do something in the upside down, right? And I was on the show. I was on the show Stranger Things.
Yeah, I heard you mention that. That's so wild, dude. They picked like a totally schizo dude to have on a totally schizo show.
What did you do?
That's awesome,
man. I was just an extra dude, but I was asked to come back.
Millie Bobby Brown right in the face.
Which part? Which part were you an extra in?
I was on season 3, episode 6. It was like there's a fair scene at the beginning, but it was just a quick little. They showed me,
which was the newer season, isn't it? Is there 4
it was season?
seasons?
No, there's 5 now. They're working on a 5th one, but they asked me to come back for 4 and 5, and I just didn't have time because Atlanta's like 5 hours away, man. So
they don't pay you well enough to have time.
No, it's pretty decent, man. It's like $180 a day. I mean, it's pretty decent stuff. So
dude, that's crazy. I love that show. Honestly, it's a good show. I know a lot of it was based off of the Montauk Project, right, where they're doing experiments on these children in Montauk, New York, in an underground facility, and there's a lot of really interesting shit there. But
David, before you move, I wanted to ask you what you think of like that the idea of like resting demon face that people are seeing this now, where they'll look at some people. And it's like,
dude, I think we're fucking. There's NPCs. I thought it was my phone. I was like, oh shit,
unbelievable, unbelievable. It's like, this is an emergency situation. That's what's going on. I'm gonna mute you, Top. You were saying there's NPCs because he's talking about that phenomenon where you see people's faces morphing into demons.
Yeah, I think it's NPCs, man. I mean, I just think that there are awakened souls on the earth. Like, I would say that we're awakened souls. Obviously, we can see the world for as it is. We have the they live glasses on,
Right.
And we can kind of see the fucking see through the bullshit. And I don't know what consciously wakes us up and makes us go from the veil is thinning for sure, but I don't know what wakes us up and makes us go from like a NPC, because that's what I used to be, to a conscious being, right? And I mentioned before on a couple of the shows that like I had an episode when I was younger. I went to a church and almost got the Holy Spirit, and it was then that I realized all this stuff, because I'm like, these energies are out there and they can just possess your body at these Pentecostal churches and stuff. But it's just like vampires, you have to let them in. You know what I mean? You have to like.
So when I'm thinking like, cause you're like, what is this moment, right? When's the moment that you kind of wake up? Cause it's like, maybe we all start off as NPCs to a degree. You're muted, Top. I'm sorry. Let me unmute you. Go ahead. What were you saying?
You're not an NPC when you're here.
I agree with that. And I think if you,
Okay.
well, I mean, I don't know if you have the wherewithal to ask if that makes you not one, but if you're here and you're watching this, that's for sure. But I mean, I think the defining moment is probably somewhere in your youth where it's like, as kids, is it fair to say we all have something like strange happen to us? Because you know how to say children are much more receptive to these experiences. Well, does that become a core memory for you, or do you forget it? Do you go, that was nothing, and you accept the conventional explanation for it and you never think about it again? Because my childhood is peppered with strange experiences that I never was able to accept the conventional explanation for. And they're not like super profound. Like you hear some people and they're like, I was, fucking, there was somebody I was listening to on Tony's show, and they were literally being lifted into the air on their front lawn and their father had to pull them down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, I didn't have anything like that, but like just weird shit, that like never sat well with me. And I never forgot about it. And so I think it's like, do those moments that happen to everybody, because a lot of people say like nothing happens to me, probably just, we've done a really good job of training ourselves culturally to go like, that was nothing and it's not important and don't remember it.
My mom's going to kill me for this, but right after I did Tony's show, things started happening, weird things. I mentioned on Sam's show, I got a weird call from John Voight, the actor. It was bizarre. But then I also like my mom, she's going to kill me for saying that, but she called me at 1:30 in the morning. She's like, what the fuck is this? It was like a light just hovering over her backyard. So like weird shit just starts happening, right? It's like, yeah, but it's always on these energy lines too, is what my point is. Like my mom had a time slip one night. She was driving, she passed through an area, and then she's like, what? She was on the phone. She's like, what the fuck? That was weird. She's like, I just passed through this area, but I'm driving through it again. And I think that
she had a time slip with you marking it
while I was on the phone. Yeah. So like,
wow,
it's almost like she, went through some kind of little vortex or something, and just, you know how when you hard drive on a computer, you have to defragment. Sometimes it's got too many spaces in it. Like I think that's kind of what happens. I think how if you hold a magnet, if you hold a magnet to a hard drive, it'll fuck it all up, right? So I think if these magnetic energies are flowing and you kind of pass through one, it like jars your electrical body in some way, and it
what's up with
puts you in an area.
The fuck is going on at Buc-ee's, dude?
We got a Buc-ee's here where I live.
Yeah, it happens all the time there. Like I've heard like 10 stories, and they're like, yeah, I went to Buc-ee's, lost 3 hours. My wife is mad.
Really?
What are you talking about, dude? There's a lot of time slips going on there.
You know what that is? They just have lot lizards, dude. They have hookers in the lot, and dudes are like, I don't know, dude. I just lost 3 hours. Yeah, because you were balls deep in a hooker, and now you got to tell your wife that you had a time slip.
But I think we come in contact with those energies at certain times. Certain times of the day, like I said, dusk, dawn, whatever it's called. Like when they write law in Congress, they always do it at a specific time in the morning. It's like 9:00. It has to be that time. You know what I mean? Or like to pass laws and that kind of stuff. But I think they're doing that because they know there's a moment that you have to, there's an exact moment that you have to hit in order for it to be amplified at a specific signal. We mentioned, I hate to skip around, but when you guys start talking, I'm like, I want to jump in, but I don't want to interrupt you guys because I do that too much. But
please interrupt us.
Yeah.
But
like there's a place called Goldstone Observatory in California on the 33rd. It's space to Earth to space communications headquarters. It's like a big satellite. And oh, I thought you were saying I'm autistic. Yeah, I'm definitely. I'm
That's basically what I'm saying. They're probably aiming it mostly at us
dude.
because we let them know that we're retarded all the time, but it's a positive thing.
Yeah,
So
I'm definitely retarded, but I forgot why I was trying to connect that. But along that 33rd parallel, man, there's all these things that, Roswell, New Mexico, the crash that happened, that was at on the 33rd parallel. Roswell's on the 33rd. Yeah. And so is Phoenix, Arizona, Phoenix Lights. That's 33rd parallel. Where they did the nuclear bomb testing, the White Sands, that's in New Mexico. That's 33rd parallel. I'm obviously skipping over a ton of shit. So if I remember, I'll go back. But
and
like,
you're saying it's only 80 miles long.
80 miles wide. Yeah, 80 miles wide. And if you actually include it, another 80 miles, then you include like Skinwalker Ranch and all these other fucking crazy places. So
that's not even that much. Like 80 miles is nothing. Like to get anywhere from my fucking house is almost 80 miles.
right.
Well, the Georgia Guidestones was 33rd.
Really? Damn.
Yeah.
That's like all the heavy hitters.
That's what I'm saying. It's wild. Like the story of what's his name? The Watson guy. What's his name? Watson? I can't remember his name. He was abducted. Travis Walton.
Oh,
he
was
abducted. Right. Yeah, that was 33rd in the Sitgreaves National Forest, which is in Arizona. Dude, I mean, there's again, LA was the Battle of LA, right? That's the famous shooting at the UFO. That's everybody's seen that picture with the lights shooting up at the UFO. Constant stuff. The USS Nimitz incidents in San Diego, that was 33rd parallel. Dude, I mean, it's just that's just the United States. That's some things in the United States. Obviously, like I said, I'm skipping over a bunch, but the point of telling you about the nuclear bomb testing was there's a guy named Bruce Cathy who was a pilot from New Zealand. For 50 years, he studied UFOs because he didn't ever believe in them. And he was a pilot, and then he saw one, and then he saw like a few of them. After that, he saw them in the water and all kind of stuff. And so he was like, well, this is weird. So he started trying to connect, like, what's the connection here? Because he would see them in the similar areas. And so he tracked a few of them in New Zealand, and he saw that they were on a straight line. And so he basically became obsessed with it for 50 years, tracking these things. And what he determined was like if you lay a piece of paper, a grid paper over the earth, that's literally what it is. It literally crosses like a grid. So what he determined was that they're using these electrical currents, these electrical energies that are flowing around the earth as a mode of transportation. And so what were we doing in 1947 or in the 1940s? We were testing nuclear bombs, right? So his theory is that if you look at all these giant craters in the around the earth, everybody will tell you it's a meteorite crater. But like the one in Arizona, for example, it's like perfectly circle. So if something's coming from outer space at an angle, why would it be perfectly circle? So his theory is that some cataclysm or something blew up this energetic grid line a long time ago, and they're trying to repair it. Mine is that they're blowing this shit up on purpose, and they're trying to run these things away. That's what my theory is that the government's doing, is because there was an incident over my family's house that I never knew about, but I saw a video of it on the National UFO Reporting Center. The guy that filmed it was like, every time it was basically hovering right over my parents' house in the National Forest. And the guy said every time it was like clockwork, they would come at a certain time and they would film it with night vision goggles. And he said every time they did, the military jets would chase off these things, these UFOs. So like my theory is that they're blowing up these grid lines with nuclear bombs or bombs, whatever you want to call them. But they have to do it on a certain line at a certain time of day. And this was Bruce Cathy's work. And he has a bunch of books called Harmonics, the Harmonics books. And there's one called Harmonic 33 of all things. Right. And basically he created a math system that included nautical miles help determine.
Very interesting. On a guitar, the harmonics, there are harmonics all throughout the guitar. One of them is halfway through, one of them is a third through on either side. And if you hold a note, like someone mentioned a while ago, pinch harmonics, same thing. You find the middle of that, wherever that string is that you're holding it all the way to the nut, halfway is a harmonic, a third and a third. So you can get different tones out of like, that's just a string on a piece of wood. And they figured it out in like real time.
Well, that was his theory with the world grid. His theory was that at a certain time of day, the earth has a harmonic and the sun has its own harmonic. And when they cross, that's the exact moment that you need to drop a nuclear bomb in order for it to be, mass effect, basically. So there's two forms of magnetism that's happening and you're hitting it at that right moment and it's making this huge impact. So if you look at something like that and all these nuclear bombs being dropped in New Mexico right around the same time as Roswell, like we might have just fucked up their highway basically, and they just fell off the highway. You know what I'm saying? So like
on purpose.
On purpose, maybe on purpose. But
yeah, it's like we made a deal. We don't want it anymore.
Well, I think that might be the case now where they basically like have these areas like, oh, you can exist in this area and do this thing. This is all speculation on my part, by the way. I don't know this for the fact, but I think there's these areas like the national forest and stuff that they've roped off and said, we'll give you guys this. I think they're talking these fucking things. I think they're communicating with them in some way. And
what's that document that said that we made a deal and basically let them kidnap and do whatever?
It was supposedly a deal that was made with was it Reagan? Reagan was responsible for striking that deal, or Nixon, one of the two. But yeah, that in exchange for technology, which Brad said it earlier, right? When we're talking about these people selling their souls or, they're sacrificing to these entities are giving them things in exchange. It's a tale as old as time, right? It's the same thing of, an entity coming down. Top and I talk about this ad nauseum, that so many of the ancient civilizations, they attribute their knowledge of agriculture, which is a form of technology, to, one deity or another, one, in our opinion, fallen entity or fallen angel or another. And it's the same thing. They continuously do this where it's like, yeah, now here we are, slightly more advanced, but really doing the same shit, striking deals with entities, fallen entities. And we're going, yeah, you can take X amount of people per year, and we get iPad technology or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. It's essentially it, man. Because if you look at like Native American burial grounds, all these old churches in like Europe, all throughout England, they're all on a ley line. You could take these little dowsing rods, which I gave some to Tony, because dowsing rods really fucking work, dude. Like people don't realize that you can find energies, earth energies, water flowing underneath the earth with these fucking dowsing rods. I wish I had them on me, but they're like little. You could take fence wire. Native Americans still use it. They take a stick, like a wishbone stick, and it just bounces up and down whenever they come across water. And so they know that there's water underneath there. Or you can find dead bodies with it, or you can find the trail of a animal, right? If a horse just walked through there, you can find that trail until it with those dowsing rods until you find that animal, right?
I had no idea you could do that with animals.
I need one right now.
It's
so
old.
crazy.
It's old technology. That's ancient technology that people have been using. But I got copper ones, and you can use dowsing rods to kind of find these areas. And what they did was they found these areas that had energies like that, like what I'm talking about, and they purposely put cemeteries there so they can communicate. So the theory is that the loved ones of the past can influence and help the lives of those who are currently living. And so it's super, super, like everybody's done this for thousands and thousands of years, but only recently they started again destroying all these places, hiding these places, not even telling you about it. Dude, we got pyramids in the United States. I had a conversation with a lady the other day, and she was talking about, the Giza pyramids. She knew everything about them. She's a geologist or whatever, and she was saying that, I knew all about it. It's like, well, did you know that we got some right here in South Carolina? And she's like, she tried to change the subject because she didn't know. There's thousands of them in the United States, dude. I just posted one on my Instagram in Greenville, Mississippi, which is called the Winterville Mounds. that's on the 33rd. So is Tuscaloosa, Mountville. So is, count like Poverty Point in Louisiana. It's right off the 33rd. It's like 32.8 or some shit like that. So it's like, in Poverty Point, Graham Hancock mentions it all the time. It's just thousands of pyramids, dude. It's like nobody tells us.
I mean, because now I'm thinking, I know it's a wild question, but like you're talking about they're building the pyramids, and the obvious thing is a pyramid is shaped like this, like pointing up. So it's let's say getting energy from the bottom, and then has something to do with what's coming out, and it's got to be done when the stars come over this way. So what the hell are the stars?
Have you ever heard when people say that the stars are the fallen? I've heard people say that before, and it's like, oh, are we sending these assholes energy?
I like the idea. I like the flat Earth idea about the firmament and how it's another ocean above us or something. You know what I mean? And you're seeing lights, and are just like you put a light in water, and it kind of has this shimmery look and this.
Right. If you see images or videos of when they zoom in on stars, they behave a lot like lights trapped underwater.
Right.
Like
exactly.
Very
around and
there's an Incubus lyric. I used to be gay and listen to Incubus, but he describes the sky as like some kind of a blanket with holes punched in it.
Oh yeah.
I forget the name of the song. Good song, but I'm like, yeah, that definitely.
Oh, Lily, she's aggravating me.
Oh shit! I have to keep my cat out of here, or my cat will literally, for some reason, is like all this space in this room. My cat's like, "Let me fuck up that keyboard, Daddy. Come on." And it's like just wants to jump on the keyboard. I'm like, "You fucking stupid ass." Yeah, man. I mean, it seems like there's this never-ending. We wanted to. I know I don't have you for much longer, but I did want to talk to you a little bit about. There's this guy, and I'm sure a lot of people. I'm Still Here by Incubus. Shout out to Marshall Banana. There's this guy who he and I have had it out with one another, but I still think his information is interesting. I just think he's a fat retard. But he is a numerologist, and he says some really interesting stuff. Because it's like you take the number 33, and the number 33 seems to be the apex of interesting. But like all these other numbers have value, right? It's like within the world of occultism, you see that there are a lot of numbers that mean certain things, right? Skull and Bones, 322, 9/11 has some significance. There's a lot of different numbers, obviously 666 or 777, right? What was Aleister Crowley's book? I forget what the hell it was called, but it was like 777 and other Kabbalistic writings or something like that was the name of his book. So there we go. I Wish You Were Here is the name of the song. I knew that didn't sound right. Yeah.
I'm counting Marshall. UFOs. I signal them with my lighter, like that kind of shit.
Yeah. So I just kind of wonder, there is clearly an entire body of information that we're not privy to. Seems like maybe at one point, much like the dowsing rods, how they were much more common practice not that long ago. And now if I saw some dude walking around with sticks, I'd be like, look at this stick having retard, but like little do I know, he's like, yeah, bitch, I'm finding water. But sure, there's a lot of this that's lost to us. And I don't know. I mean, I know this isn't your area of expertise necessarily. We talked a little bit about that on text messages. This kind of goes to both of you. Like, what do you guys think about, I don't know, like numerology and sort of its ability to maybe imprint a person with personality traits, dependent upon, it's very similar to astrology, right? It's like if you're born under a certain astrological sign, then you're imbued with these loose characteristics that act as a general foundation for your personality. Well, it seems like there's a lot of, didn't I ask you, Top? I said, give me the birth date of a person that's close to you, but don't tell me who they are. And I'll try to tell you something about them based off of their numbers. And I was like kind of right about some stuff in like a pretty uncanny way. And I found that it actually applies to me. But like, what do you guys like, Brad? What do you think? Do you know much about that at all? Is that something that you've considered?
No, but I mean, I would imagine that there's a lot of people. I do consider it. There's like Plato talked about everything having a central vibratory number. And most of the studies that's going on now, I mean, they're pretty much proving that we're in a simulation. If you boil down the atoms down to it's basically zeros and ones. You know what I mean? So, but I think every number has like I said, a resonant frequency. And for whatever reason, man, I think there are probably many demons that these different things worship, many different gods. And I think they're all connected to different planets, different stars, whatever. But I think that, like, I'll give you an example about, we were talking about how you're selling you sell your soul for information, like right before 9/11, for example. So it makes me think that maybe not everything is bad or as bad as it seems to us. Like right before 9/11, the SEC goes in February 2001, they go to Congress and they ask for permissions for the DoD to use the 33 gigahertz signal, which is Earth to space communications. And they said that they wanted to use it in preparation for a big event that was coming up soon. And, the only big event that really happened in 2001 was obviously 9/11. So
the Yankees won, right?
Yeah.
Actually, they lost that year.
So I think that there are people who know these numbers, the code, the hidden code, and they just don't want to tell everybody about it, because I think that if they did, people would probably, I think religion has its place for holding, keeping a society at a level of comfort, but unfortunately it keeps people comfortably numb in a lot of ways, because they don't know who they truly are. I used to work at a place, in a cubicle, and I hated every fucking day of it, dude. It sucked. It was like sucking the life out of me, because I knew I was more. I knew there's something more to me. And I think that's what everybody's going through, man. Everybody's sitting in the cubicle and just looking around at each other like, fuck, this sucks. Everybody has something they would rather be doing. Everybody has a business that they would rather create, or a way that they can be creative. I do web design and photography now, but I was kind of thrust into this role when I joined the military. They gave me they were like, you're going to be a photographer. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What do you do? So like
everybody else got a gun.
Yeah, everybody else got like
Here's
fucking cool jobs. Everybody got cool jobs, and I'm like, I'm a photographer. They're like, that's some gay shit, dude. But it turned out to be exactly what God wanted for me, man. I can't even describe it in every way.
You're lucky it happened before,
Yeah.
because now everything in the Army is gay. You probably would have been taking pictures of some gay sex or something like that.
For sure. For sure, dude. But like, it's, I think people, like I said, have this ability to, or this knowing, this gnosis that they're made for more. They're creators in this world, right? They're like fucking, like, we are creators. We're made in God's image, and God is a creator, and we're creators. So that means that's why the fucking devil hates us. That's why he's trying to kill babies with abortions. That's why he's trying to depopulate the fucking planet. He hates us, dude. He wants to fucking get rid of us or live in this realm, because, I think that was why God sent him, banished him from heaven, because he was like, why the fuck does everybody get to be like you, but I can't, And God's like, well, fuck you, go away. You know what I mean?
That's the initial jealousy that is like
Yeah.
really interesting to think about. And imagine being jealous and bitter over something for so long. It must be awesome if you're still that mad about it.
Right? Yeah. Like what we've got going on is worth being like you got to look at him and go like, that sucks, my G. That sucks. Sucks to be you, bro. Sucks to be you.
I'm glad I did, man. I'm glad I made every move. I quit my job. I started my own business, and I tell people all the time, like, you gotta live your life, man. Stop hiding behind a computer screen or wishing you would have started this. And everybody who actually does move on, they're like, God, I should listen to you, dude. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever. Because I'm like, I've never been more free. And when you're free, they can't affect you in any way, dude. They can't. Nobody can cancel you. He's like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll go find water in the woods with fucking dowsing rods and all that shit. You know what I mean? Or find oil or some shit.
Well,
but for
you
me,
talked
man,
about it for a second, Brad. I just want to touch on this. It's like, maybe some of the religious institutions and some of the just institutional apparatus that we found ourselves surrounded by in 2024 in modern day society. Well, maybe it is meant to corral some of the. You kind of said it before, right? Like some people might be NPCs. That's become a popular terminology, and it is fitting. It does work really well, but like it does seem to be.
Those people were I was shaken up in 2020 because I'm exactly what Brad is describing. I was like, I had a good government job that made me a lot of money, and in 2020, I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And I said, I got to build my own shit. I got to get out of New York. And it's scary, but I did it. And I'm still building it right now as we go. Buy a sticker pack, bitch. But it's like, yeah. I think the people that were going to be shaken got shook up. Like there's like the yin and yang to COVID. Like they killed a lot of people. They poisoned a lot of people. They changed a lot of our DNA. They got a lot of fake money and all this shit like this. But the people that they woke up, that was like the trade that they're willing to do for whatever they got in return.
Yeah,
they woke up the fucking Michael Jordans of the world. Everybody who woke up was like, let's fucking go. And guys like y'all are just like going balls to the wall with it. And just like,
in our case, they kind of woke up the sleeping retards, but it's like, that is a good point, right? Because it's like, so just to touch back on what I was getting at with these institutions, some people never woke up, guys. Some people never woke up. So maybe these institutions were never meant for people like us. Maybe they do serve some importance. It's like, what do you do with the masses, the sleeping masses who never wake up? Because do you think it's true that maybe more people stay asleep than will ever wake up? That's probably true, right?
I mean, it feels like, I'm into near-death experiences and shit like that. And a lot of times when people have near-death experiences, I've watched thousands of videos on it. I've had friends who had them. They always say the same thing. They tell the exact same story. They see God. They're doing a life review, and God always asks them, did you learn how to love? He don't care about anything else. He just wants to know, did you learn how to love? And so people will, when people come back, then they say that what they're doing is, they're like, they're saying like, we're in a school. This is, we're here to learn something. We're here to learn how to love specifically. And they also say that they get this feeling that people do wake up, but it's at their own pace. Like we're on different, the different levels of us right now. And we keep vibrating to higher levels of us. And we have to come to that knowledge on our own. We can help people by doing this. We can plant seeds here and there, but and I do this all the time, and I practice it with my family and my friends. I did it with my son the other day. I said, who filmed? I said, Neil Armstrong was the first guy to walk on the moon. Who filmed that? And he's like, wait a minute. Yeah, who fucking filmed that? Dude, what the fuck? He's 8 years old. He doesn't cuss, but he's like, now he's telling all his friends.
But now he does.
Yeah, now he's like telling all his friends. But if you plant a little seed, it grows. It has to grow. They have to come to the knowledge on their own too, because people don't like to feel like they're duped into something. Like they don't feel like, they don't want to feel like they're like, oh, I'm a fucking idiot. I should have seen this all along or whatever.
Well, that's a spiritual rule. I guess whether light or dark, high vibration, low vibration, everything has to be consent. And like
everything,
dude, every single thing. That's
everything.
One of the, it's a very,
if you don't consent to it, it's not fucking real. That's just words are vibrations. They vibrate things into physical matter in our reality. They literally have their own vibration. Thoughts have their own vibrations. So like, when they get you to believe something, they push it out on the news about COVID 24/7. It's fucking going to kill you. You're going to lose your smell. You believe that shit. That's what happens, dude. You believe I lost my fucking sense of smell. I lost my sense of taste or whatever. They made you believe it. But they unfortunately for them, it pushed people to a point of not believing it anymore. And they go, nah, we know what the fuck is going on here. Right?
But
it's
like Top said,
we got it.
Is that what they were willing to trade? Like, fine, I know we have some nefarious shit to do, and I know it's going to wake up some of the good guys, but like, whatever, we'll take that chance,
During that point, I was like a libertarian sort of, but I was also an accelerationist. Big fan of whatever could happen and push them faster than they like to go. I think that's a good idea, because if they could slow play that, if they could have slow played COVID and the rollout of the vaccine and all that bullshit, they would have been way more successful than they had. Like, I was like, all right, guys, from here to here, you got 3 months to make everybody fucking crazy. And they just like, oh shit. They had to really run through it. They really had like a year, and they fumbled the ball numerous times because, it's like such a big lie. How could you not? But I'm glad that they were pushed to fucking.
It almost makes you feel like Operation Warp Speed maybe served a purpose. Yeah. And I'm not necessarily a Trump guy, but I do see the utility in that. I'm like, huh. But something that you said about people not waking up because it's all about consent. Dude, in that way, consent is the doorway. Like it is the portal, because
Free
Without
will.
consent, you don't
key.
open the door, and the information is literally just smacking up against the door.
Well,
Like,
literally,
consent is the thing that opens it and allows the information to pass through. And if information and ideas are all energy and frequency, which is the same thing that, you know, these entities are and everything else, it's like, yeah, consent is the doorway. It's the door to the portal. And if you
It's
give
everything.
consent, then you open it and you allow all types of frequency and energy to come through.
That's what, in what you're talking about here is, again, whenever I almost had the Holy Spirit, right? The preacher says, come on up, you young men. And we're in my friend, like 12, 13. He makes us hold up our hand. And then he starts talking and he's telling us something. Then he starts talking in tongues. And
You're like a little antenna.
yeah, what we're doing is literally we have our hand open, our hand up,
when
like,
you
come
worship
into
at
this
church.
portal. Yeah,
that's
come
like,
into this fucking portal. It was like, we're literally inviting them in. And I saw, you know, old men cutting backflips and little kids, 6-year-olds speaking in tongues and shit. And, you know, I don't know if that's good or bad or what it is. I don't know if that's the Holy Spirit or not, but it didn't look and feel right to me. So, you know, but
When
what
you
it
say
maybe,
it didn't feel right, what do you mean?
well,
Because I'm very interested in that phenomenon. I'm like, this seems
yeah, but
it's an
dude,
interesting thing. What you're saying.
Yeah.
I used to do worship
But people-
in the church. Yeah.
you did. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And
I'll
you're
listen.
inviting it in, but if these people in the church, they're so, it's not that they're dumb, but like it's playing a Ouija board almost. Even though you're calling on the Holy Spirit, like, can something else come in? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, that's exactly
risky
right. What
business.
that's my point. What is it that's coming in? Are we letting in something good or something bad? Because I've seen people, like, I dated a girl that went to one of those churches, and her mom, like, she looked like she was possessed, dude. She was fucking sweating. She's like, like, it didn't look normal, whatever the fuck that was.
She looked
sorry
scary?
Sorry about all the bad language, by the way. I don't know if I'm allowed
Oh
to
no,
say
it doesn't matter. No, that's totally fine. But she looked scary.
Yeah, like, not demon face, but it looked like something had her body and was like, you know what I mean? Like, she was sweating. She was just, it looked like it hurt her. And that's all I'm saying is it, if it looks like it hurts, I don't know that if my God is the God of love, like, you know, why does it make people hurt like that? Why does it look like it hurts? And so I don't, whether or not it's real and whatever it is, I don't want to blasphemize the Holy Spirit. You know what I mean? I'm just telling you what I felt whenever I've been to 3 or 4 different of these churches.
I agree
You
with
know,
you.
it's like they prime the audience for it first with music, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to describe it.
No, that's exactly what it is. Like when I went there,
Right.
I always say, like, I used to organize the music, and so I would be writing the fake sheets and the sheet music for the guitar, bass, piano, violin, trumpet. We had a saxophone, and whatever, all this shit. I'm organizing all that. And I'm like, we're playing in a very weird, because it's all math too. So as I'm like,
Yes.
you have to transcribe for the trumpet. I'm like, I think it was like, I don't know. It was a trumpet in C. So if it was in G, you have to go down, whatever. And I'm like, this is math, this is science, but we're also playing in the game. Like, you know, if Lucifer was the first musician, we're kind of playing in that field. And if we don't fully understand what we're doing, these guys are happy to go up there, slap a capo on the guitar, and, you know, G, C, F the whole time. They don't know shit about it. I know these couple of chords, and I am going to, with this capo and these couple of chords, these 5 chords that I know, I'm going to usher the Holy Spirit into this place.
You know,
Yeah,
Todd,
and
that's what you're gonna do?
if we vibrate, then there's dung dung, and it's hitting that vibratory rate that puts us on that plane of existence.
But think
whatever
about
you
that,
want to call
though.
it. You know,
These guys, they are only interested in enough in their instrument to learn
the
a
basics.
handful of chords, what I need to go. And it's like, that's what you want to do?
So check
Just
this out.
The bare minimum?
All right, you have these cliche situations where every movie's done it. You have a Ouija board seance, right? Everybody's joined hands and they're all doing this thing and that thing. And there's one of 2 things that can happen where it goes wrong. Either everybody's supposed to close their eyes, one asshole opens their eyes, and then somehow this disrupts everything. Or 3 things, one of 3 things. Or somebody lets go of the hands. You're not supposed to ever let go of the hands. Somebody lets go, fucks the whole thing up. Or somebody's just not in the right state of mind. So if you guys are all together priming a crowd to receive the Holy Spirit, you're facilitating this
You're tuning
action.
them.
You're tuning them. What if somebody on stage isn't tuned right? What if their
Happens all the
headspace isn't in the right, place
it's
that it's
messed
supposed
up.
to be? Then what are
I'm
you
telling
inviting
you,
in?
it's the craziest thing when you're playing, because I played for the church, but then we would, like, our band was good and we would play bigger like church events, and when everyone's in unison and you hit a certain chord, or there's like we had, dynamics and dropouts and stuff, you could feel it. You're like, oh, there it is. And sometimes you could see the people, and it's like a drug. It's dangerous. But when it's bad,
you can sense it in the air before it starts. It doesn't happen every Sunday.
Yeah,
it's only certain, some Sundays it has to be right. The harmonics have to be right. But he's right. You can sense it. You can feel it. It's like, oh, it's coming now. I can see it come. I can feel it coming.
And when it goes bad, it's like a car crash. It's like visibly like jolted. If the band just messes up, and I'm like, oh, it's not just embarrassment, but there's like like you hit the brakes. And I think some people it messes up if they're like really perceiving it. Some people don't really notice as long as they keep going. You know what I mean? But it's a tenuous thing.
It's like being in a trance and then having something happen that snaps you out of the trance, that it's like it's jarring. Like when you say car accident, like it's like being ripped out of that moment, and that doesn't feel good. That's interesting, man, because I've seen Dr. Dingbat was saying, shout out Dr. Dingbat, she's one of our Telegram members, but she was saying that when you see people on the ground writhing, like, dude, what the fuck? Like, that is, but losing control over yourself is sus. I don't know, man. I'm not so quick to give myself over.
You're inviting stuff in, like, we're inviting.
Definitionally, you're inviting
we're inviting the Holy Spirit into the church. But like you said, if somebody is vibrating like weird in that place, like, I don't know. There could be
what that
stuff.
is we just talked about consent being the doorway to the portal. You have you're generating all this energy with frequencies and harmonics, right? And then you're opening the portal in mass. So all these people all at once. Not only are you're giving consent in the way that you know why you're here, but then you're doing these extra steps to like amplify this energy and invite something in, man. We just don't understand it enough. That's the thing. I think at the end of the day, it's like, I'm not opposed to inviting the Holy Spirit in, but I think that so much of the information has been lost over human history that if our ancestors who knew it better than we do could see us, they'd be like, fucking, what are you doing?
Well, listen, I mean, when we drink, what do they call alcohol? Spirits.
Yeah.
Fucking letting spirits in your body, dude. That's literally what it is. And when people drink, they look different, man. I know I've been around a lot of alcoholics in my life. I'm telling you,
my God.
They turn. I've seen people turn demonic looking, like not literally demon face, but just they look like a different person. You know what I mean?
Red. They get like, it's like a transfiguration of their face. I wanted to say something too. You're muted out, David, again. This is going to be fun going forward with the show. Smash the laptop. Get a new laptop. I went to a Greek Orthodox church, and they were going through they were reading the Bible, and they're going through it as like a chant, but everything always ended in this kind of round thing. And
that's the mandalas.
Yeah.
That's the mandalas.
If you put that on a vibrating plate, it'll create a mandala. And
pictures of the devil.
It's also the sound. If you vibrated, I forget exactly what it was, but the pi symbol, 3.14, all those numbers.
Yeah.
If you vibrated that, it would create an ohm. That's like the round sound.
Oh, that's interesting. So if you were to tune a frequency that was like, if you read it on the meter and it said 3.14, that run-on number, that's what it would sound like.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
There's cymatics in these old churches, dude. They have healing properties. There's a lady named Tanya Harris from England who goes and studies these. She hooks up a sound machine and basically puts water on a speaker, and she records the silence in the church, and it creates these geometric patterns. And then when you add in like church bells and organs and things like that, it does different shapes. Like it has different frequencies that it creates different shapes. So there's a lot of stuff, man, with frequency. I mean, Tesla said it, dude. If you want to know the secrets of the world, think in terms of frequency, energy, vibrations, dude. That's what it's all about.
The name of the church. Someone, I will look it up after, but it was like this. It's a dome shape. It's a very interesting shape, and somebody had recorded the room silently to see what sound just the acoustic of the room with nothing in it is giving off. And it was giving off a replication of the same of the shape that it was, like the same exact number. It's wild stuff. So
Yeah.
they designed that to sound and match that look.
I heard a very similar one where it's like they recorded the organs playing inside a cathedral, and when you put it on a cymatics plate, it made the same shape that the windows made.
Mhm.
Yep.
So the windows within the cathedral were set up in such geometry that somehow the frequencies of the organ imitated that. And it's like, man, I don't know. It makes you wonder. Sometimes I think about people's role in all of this. And it's like, did they know when they were building Gothic cathedrals that that's what was happening? Or is there just always a force in the background that's moving us in a way that we're not aware of? And it can be small, where you're just in the right place in the right time, or it can be big in the way that you designed this cathedral, but had no idea there was an element that you were also, manifesting in this realm that would blow you away if you, the creator of it, even were able to see it. It's the same thing I think about with these players on the world stage, that sometimes we go like the Rothschilds this, or the, this bloodline, that bloodline, or, is Donald Trump the Antichrist? Donnie Darkin would have a lot to say about that, but he also will say that despite all of the insane synchronicities that happen with Trump and all the symbolism surrounding his life, Donnie still couldn't tell you if Trump is an active, willing participant in this. And even if he is a willing participant in it, how far does his body of knowledge go? Or is he not? Are we being moved by something that we're unaware of, and that we're being moved around the chessboard like pieces?
Well, when I create something, when I create a website, I first of all, just like writing a paper for college or whatever, you don't know what you're going to create. You just start writing. You write the words "the," and next thing you know, you got a 10-page paper for college. It's the same thing when you build a website or do anything. If I take a photo that's really good, or build a website that's really nice, I get this weird jolt in my body. This like buzz that goes from head to toe. It's like literally through my whole body. And it feels like my eyes kind of go crossed a little bit. It's just a personal feeling that nobody else can see. You can't see my eyes going crossed, but it's a jolt, as if someone or something took its hand and just like rubbed down my whole body. It was like, yes, that's it. You know what I mean?
Well, God created the earth, and then he said, and it's good. That's the part where it's good.
And it is good.
You're like,
yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I feel like. And I'm like, okay, this is good then. If I get that jolt, and it happens a lot, then that means that I'm hitting something that's going to resonate, I think, with other people. So I think we are creators, like you said, man. If we have to like hit our personal chords with everything. You know what I mean? We have to like find whatever it is that tunes us, that we can tune into, that makes us better. Dude, when things like this happen, when I come on shows like y'all's or Tony's or Sam's, I'm like, what kind of fucking world do I live in where I can just go on random shows that are already popular and get to talk to guys who built something from scratch and have good followings? And like, I feel like I skipped over the minor leagues and went straight to the major leagues almost. And I don't feel like I deserve it, but I feel like that I've been called to do this my whole life, even down to the fact that when I was in the 6th grade, I did a science fair project, which I got 4th place on prisms. So like I literally, and I haven't thought about prisms for the rest of my life until I started reading and trying to figure out what's going on in the universe. So again, it feels like I was intentionally put to see something or experience something or to know something, and it's led up to this point. And I can't describe all the angel numbers and frequent synchronicities and everything that I've gotten along the way. But man, I'm telling you, it's real. When crazy things happen to me, I can't even describe them, because what it feels like is when I describe them, people will go, you're just thinking too much about that. That's just, you're making that up, or you're whatever. And I'm like, listen, I started selling baseball cards, right, when we started building a house. And I just did it because I like baseball. So I was like, yeah, I'll get, as the market was hot at the time, I bought an Aaron Judge rookie card for like $200. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold on to this one forever. This is a great card, right? It was a rare card. There's only like 5 of them. And then he started getting hot that season. He started breaking the record, right? Roger Maris's record. And so like all of his cards were going crazy. So me and my wife built our house. We got down to the final week. We had literally spent all of our money on this house, man. We got 4 acres. We're blessed, dude. I'm blessed to have a beautiful wife who works hard too. So like we're doing pretty well, but we built this house during COVID and right after COVID, 2021.
It's the same dude. It's just Ginger Me.
Dude, that's why I'm
Fucking
laughing.
crazy.
I've been smiling my ass off because I'm like, this is the same shit. Okay.
I feel
So-
like he
so here's the
studied
thing.
me, and then now he's mimicking my story. To
No,
disrespect
dude, I
me.
promise
Are you mocking Top
Are you
Lobster?
fucking mocking me right now? How dare you?
Yes, it's me, antimatter lobster. I'm bottom lobster.
Oh no, that guy's an asshole. You don't want to be that guy.
No, so we sell that, or we buy the house. We had to get a construction loan. The construction loan is, you have to pay it while you have and it transitions to a mortgage basically. So we get down to the bottom. I've already maxed out all credit cards and everything, dude. We had to pay separate for toilets and shit. It was weird because we were just like, just build the house for whatever cheap way you can, and we'll figure out the rest. And we get down, we're about to sign the papers, and they're like, oh, you owe one more construction loan payment. And it was like $1,235.54. And my wife is very like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And so was I a little bit, but I was like, hey, we'll be fine. It always works out. When you quit your job and leave to go somewhere else, man, God provides every freaking day. All of a sudden you get a shirt sale online. It's like, I needed this fucking shirt sale, dude. I had to pay this bill or whatever, or I needed this job. And it comes through. I had 50 cents in my account one time, and money just all of a sudden appeared. I'm like, just have faith and things will come to you. I mean that. But I told her that day, I was like, don't worry about it. We'll be fine. And I swear to God, I sold a judge card, that judge card. I put it on eBay for sale. I sold it that night for $1,600. eBay took its cut, which was like $400 something. It left me with the exact fucking amount, dude, to the penny. That's fucking wild. And I get chills because I'm like, there's only one way that can happen. That's not coincidence. And that shit happens to me every day. When I start talking about God, angel numbers appear everywhere. Dude, the guy that put in my gutters, he was like, we started talking about God all of a sudden. And I was telling him about angel numbers. He's like, oh, I know about angel numbers. And he took off his ring and he had the number 222 tattooed on his hand. And then the rest of the day, he and I both were getting angel numbers all day. It's like the angels were happy. Like, yes, they're fucking communicating. They're doing it. They're spreading the love. They're spreading the joy. And I think that's what we're designed to do. But man, when I'm telling you, these things happen to me every single day. Weird things that I can't ever explain to people. And when I do, people just dismiss it. And I'm like, you can't. It's I got the exact penny that I needed to pay that fucking construction loan to move into our house, dude. And it's unbelievable. I mean, even from our last house to this house, it was like exactly 44.4 miles. It's like 444, right? It's always something, about? Dude.
Because that's
all of them are just angel numbers that to me, I get angel numbers. Some people get, my older brother gets butterflies, like not in his stomach, but he sees butterflies and he knows that's something communicating with him. Like that's what everybody's the way God talks to people is different for everybody, I think. And so
I get ladybugs.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's really
I get
weird.
Lice, apparently. Bullshit, dude.
Hey, dude, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, bro.
Yeah, I'm a bottom lobster, so I get crabs. I mean,
it is funny though, because if you think about it,
1 second, I don't know how long we have you for, because we've been going for 2 hours.
I know.
You're good. Okay, all right. So we'll bring it in eventually. I just feel like the conversation's
it could go on forever. Yeah. It could go on forever. But I do want to say, a lot of people will look at the bad in their life, and they will assume that it's definitively bad if they lose one thing or lose another. And sometimes I think that the perspective, because they say like perception is everything and perspective is important, right? It's like if you lose one thing, you make room for another thing. You could look at it as a bad, or you could look at it as a good. But I think it's a little bit more transcendent than that. It's like if you look at it as a good, the same way you're talking about like the elation of the angels being like, look, they're talking about it.
You're happy, dude.
God does so much for you in your life if you pay attention. And imagine how frustrating it must be to like be moving pieces around for these retards, just moving them around, doing things for us.
Did he notice it? He didn't.
Did he notice it? He didn't notice it. Oh, he's mad.
Yeah.
Oh, look at him. He's mad. He's upset. He doesn't know. He doesn't know that this was good. He didn't know that he didn't need that. He didn't know that something else is coming up. He's crying. He's crying again. He's fucking crying.
It was like when the Beetlejuice people and the Dietzes, they were trying to like scare people out and they couldn't see them. That's kind of what it is, man.
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
God's showing you the pieces and you're like just ignoring them,
and you're getting caught up in that. But you can train that sight. You can start to move with faith through your life and trust that you're on a path. That's why I always say whenever I pray, I never pray for specific things because I think it's clownish of me to assume that I know what's good for me. I just pray to be in alignment with God's plan for me. And as long as I am actively trying to be on that path, then that goes hand in hand with the faith that the things that are happening are all pointing towards something bigger and something more important. And so, you can either focus on things that are happening in your life, because guess what, guys? We all have shit that goes wrong. And you can count all the things. The same way you can get really good at playing baseball, or you can get really good at another thing. It's like you can get really good at seeing every bad thing that's happening around you to the point where you train yourself to have hawk eyes. And then you turn into one of those old people that, like, you ever meet them? It's like all they do is you meet up with them and you go, hey, what's going on, Bob? How's it been? Shit. It's been shit. And you're like, oh, this dude has started to train himself to believe that the great commonality from one man to another and the great basis for a conversation starter is complaining about your life. And you can get really good at that.
Well, the law of attraction is for real, in my opinion. Whatever you want to call it. It's just that when you tune your radio station, your antenna to a certain channel, you can get whatever the hell you want in life, man. And I mean that because all you have to do is put your mind to it. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hands. It's a real thing. It's not a made up thing. It's a real thing. I mean, you guys are probably living proof of that. Like, how the fuck did I get here? I'm just a kid from New York or New Jersey or whatever. It's like, what am I doing right? But again, I think that it all boils down to, like, are you doing God's will, or is it you can do what you want as long as it's in God, on his path. Right. It's like,
right.
But again, it's the universe, man. Like attracts like, negative attracts negative, positive attracts positive. When we were kids, we lived down a dirt road in a double wide trailer, and my mom and dad went to high school with some kids, and they ended up, when they got older, they had a bigger house. Like the kids they went to high school had a big house, and they're like, what the fuck is that guy doing that I did? How's that fair? We don't get, we don't have a nice house, or we don't have a big house, or we don't have a boat, or we don't have this. And what I realized as I got older was, nothing against my parents. They're hardworking, amazing people. Right. But the negativity was like probably what was holding them back. Instead of being happy for that person, they're like, why not me, kind of thing. And I just got to the point where I'm just happy. I just learned to be happier for people. I don't hate on anybody. I'm just glad that they're doing well. I don't want people to fail, or except certain politicians. I wish they'd fucking die, but like I don't.
But they're not people. They're not people.
Yeah, they're like something else. They're demons, dude, or something.
You said it earlier in the show, though. It's like everybody is on their own personal progression thing. And it's like you just are becoming a higher version of yourself. You can't look at your timeline in comparison to other people's. That's it. You can't look at your success. And also to look at one person's success from the outside, standing on the curb, looking at their house, is, you think you understand it all. You think you know what the hell they have crabs.
Yeah, right.
How about that, dude? You know what I mean? Like, something else is going on. It's none of your business.
Man.
Yeah, we used to live in. Go ahead. I'm sorry. No, I used to be stationed in Tampa. I used to live in Tampa, and my wife worked at a Walgreens there. And she said the biggest drug addicts were like the rich, wealthy people. They come in and get, tons of prescriptions. And she's like, those are the ones that we had to worry about more than anybody, because they were because they weren't happy in life. They don't have happiness, man. They don't have a personal like goal to get to anymore. And I think most people feel that when they get to a certain level of success, they're not happy. They got there, they got that thing, but it wasn't really what made them happy. And they probably had to sacrifice a lot to get there, working extra hours or not enough time with your kids, man. I could share a story with you off air, but a guy I used to work for, he was in the military for 40 years. And we had to talk about this. And he's like, I missed a lot of birthdays. I missed a lot of baseball games. You know what I mean? He's like, I was at that point, I was in 8 years. And he's like, because it was like, do I stay in or do I get out? And he helped me make that decision pretty quickly. He's like, I've sacrificed a lot to be here, like
I realized that my old job, they paid me well. You pay me double time to stay later. And I was like, after a little bit of doing that, like you miss even just a regular day with your kid or even your wife, and you're like, you can't pay me for that. Like, you don't have fucking money for that. And do I even want that? That's the thing. Like, sometimes you get something and you're like, is this what I'm supposed to be getting? Or did I take this? You know?
Right. Is this for my own benefit? You know?
Yeah. It's a constant balance for me, figuring out what I should do and what I want to do. You know?
Well, I joke. I'm sorry, dude. I interrupt you again. I joke about buying and selling baseball cards, but I'll probably give away more than I actually buy, and I'll probably lose a lot of money just giving stuff away all the time. Because I'll go to card shows or something, and I'll sit there and sell, and half the kids that walk up, I'm like, here, take this, take this, take. I'm constantly just fucking giving them everything because I want them to be happy. I don't give a fuck about my own success or my own happiness. I really don't, and I don't know how to explain that to people, but when you start living for others, it just seems like you keep getting blessed over and over and over, man. I think that's the 10%. When you have a 10%, when you have a
Sam Tripoli, yeah.
Sam Tripoli hack. He knows.
Yeah, yes, exactly right.
It's
he
like
talked about it at the show.
Practice abundance, right? But like,
yeah,
he did that with us. There's no reason why he should have been like saying Nephilim Death Squad at this show. We didn't have to go on the stage with him, but he knows it. He knows he gets back. He keeps getting back, and it's not like you get him back from us. We're not paying him or stuff like that, but he's getting back, and he's just like, yo, you get addicted to it, and you're like, just give it away, and it comes back more. But
you're right, dude. But I think that's the 10%. When you have a ear to listen to or a voice to talk to someone, that's the 10%. That's giving back. It's not giving money necessarily. If you have money, sure. But if it's raining outside, stop and give the guy the umbrella that's walking on the side of the road. That's your extra blessing. Give that shit away, and it comes back to you every time. Whether you want it or not, it comes back. And I just think that's the way things work in this universe. And I don't purposely seek it out, because when I do things straight out of love for whatever, for whoever, it just, man, it's like the blessings just never stop. And to a point where I'm like, I don't deserve any of this. Like, what the fuck is going on? I don't want success almost. I'd rather be, I give my last dollar to family and friends all the time, literally my last dollar. And somehow $1,000 will be in my account the next day. It's fucking unbelievable, dude. Can't ever describe it. When you start doing that kind of stuff and living for others, it just comes and comes and comes. And, I just don't feel like I'm deserving of any of it. But I also feel like, God has put me and pushing me in a certain direction to go, this is what you're supposed to do. Go help others wake up, help others do this, help others feel love, feel important. I was a lady that I ordered food from the other day. She was new, and this was at Firehouse Subs in where I live. And she was just frustrated looking, and I was like, hey, is everything okay? And her attitude just totally changed towards me. You know what I mean? I think that, but if you could just be a little spark of light for somebody. My grandma had it, dude. She was a saint. She kept foster kids and adopted kids. She was a fucking saint. She lived the example of being what it is. That's what Jesus did, man. He gave up everything, even his life, for the betterment of the next person. You know what I mean? In my opinion, when he sat next to the blind man, he was maybe not necessarily making him see with his eyes, like maybe not an actual miracle, but in my opinion, I like to think that maybe he just sat beside him and put his arm around him and said, I love you. Let me describe the scene around you. Here's what's, here's this and here's that. He talked to that guy and he made him see in a different way, right? Like, oh, there are good people in the world. There are people who love you and care about you. And I think as long as you have that mindset and that love, you want to give out love to everybody, like you just get it back, man. And people can't stop that shit. You can't stop love. That's what the awakening is. It's love, man. It's everybody's love. Everybody loves you guys. Had me on your show. Like I said, everybody else has been super kind to me. And that's just love. That's a good vibration. I just keep riding that, dude. I'm thankful to be here. That's another thing, to have gratitude, because when you have gratitude, man, abundance and gratitude is everything, man. I live in a beautiful neighborhood, 4 acres, like I said, many farms. My neighbor's a retired county judge. I was talking to her and I was just telling her how blessed I am, because I grew up in a trailer park and all these other places. And I was like, yeah, and every day I get deer in my backyard, right? And as I waved my hand, a deer walked out in broad daylight. Like, that's the kind of shit that happens. It's like, that can't be coincidental. Am I affecting this world? Am I doing this? Am I creating this world as I go through it? Or am I just being blessed every day? I like to think both, maybe,
Well, Well, if an atomic bomb could put a fingerprint on somewhere spiritually, then you can do. I think that's the whole point of this episode, of that, like there are forces working in either direction on this ley line on the 33rd parallel, and yeah, whatever you're putting on that, it can change. It's just far too few of us, the people that are like a sort of aware of this on a technological scientific level. Not enough of us doing it. Just needs to be more people doing this stuff, because the people who are using this for low vibrational stuff, they're fully aware, you know?
Well, love vibrates at 528 hertz and fear vibrates at 4 hertz, if that tells you anything. So when you live in love, not evil can't attach themselves to you because they can't even get close to you, right? I mean, it can't happen. When you live in the love, on the side of the spectrum that's love, you vibrate on a higher level, things cannot affect you the same way they do as people who have all these UFO experiences and demonic experiences typically have some trauma in their life. You know, they're afraid all the time of something. They drugs, they've been beaten and abused or whatever. But if they can learn to change their channel and change their frequency, man, and try to vibrate at a higher level on the frequency of love, then they'll see that all that shit goes away. You know what I mean?
Is that the moral? Is the moral of this episode live, laugh, love?
Yeah.
That's a basic bitch shit.
You heard it here, guys. Live, laugh, and love.
Oh, God. You know what? I think that's a great spot to bring this episode. And then now they think we're gay. That's fine.
Hey, man, that's fine. That's fine. Hey, all you need is love, right?
Hey, listen, there's a reason why they stole the rainbow, right? That thing represents every. It
represents life.
Visible. Yeah,
it represents life, dude. I mean, that's everything. So, but yeah, man, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. You guys are awesome.
Thank you for coming on, brother.
Yeah, I knew I'd have a good time talking shit with you guys.
I'm sorry we interrupted the shit out of you over and over again.
All right, man.
We have no manners whatsoever.
No. Raised by Wolves. Tell the people again where they can find you. I have your website in the description if they want to check that out. But yeah, let them know what you're doing, all that stuff.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's the content is lacking. I still am new at podcasting and being a host and learning to just shut my mouth and talk or let people talk. But it's theawakenedpodcast.com. If you want to be on my show, theawakenedpodcast.com/contact. If you want to help out a local church, my hometown church, you want to buy some merch, that would help. That goes directly to my church. Small town churches are being shut down left and right because a lot of people are moving from small towns to bigger cities. So if you want to donate, a donation will go to my church, like the whole thing, not just a portion of the donation, the whole thing. Eventually, I'll start maybe asking people for help for doing a documentary, but maybe not. We already asked too much of people anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like we're always like, give this and give that. But so if you want to give out of your heart, if you're being called to do it, please help out a small town church. I promise you the money will go to a church. If you're a veteran and you're in a crisis mode, you want to talk to somebody, email me and we can do a little video chat, but don't do nothing. Don't do no harm to yourself. Hit me up. There's a lot of veterans that are dying every day, committing suicide. They're lost in the world. Again, if you want to hit somebody, if you want to, don't end your life, just please call me, talk to me in some way. So, but yeah, if you have a crazy experience, if you live on the 33rd parallel and you see all these crazy old world buildings and you see all these, a lot of high strangeness, weird things happening, hit me up. I want to hear from you. I love talking to people like y'all. That's the reason I started this show, because I got kind of bored watching Ancient Aliens and shit like that. I want to hear real stories from real people. So hit me up, man. Again, thank you guys for letting me be here. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, dude. David, anything before we go?
Guys, just don't forget to go to NephilimDeathSquad.com. You can check that out if you want to support the show. Also patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Both of those will gain you access to our Telegram, which I can't stress it enough. It's like turning into this little community. People having conversations like the one that we just had now, all day and night, really. I don't know when these people sleep, but yeah. it really is. We wake up and it's like so much is developed overnight. But you can come and share your experiences or talk about different theories or just, be a part of the community. It's growing all the time. And don't forget to go to toplobster.com, where we just dropped our volume 1 of Nephilim Death Squad sticker packs, Top Lobster sticker packs, and Tower Gang sticker packs. So
yeah,
go check those out.
I'm not telling you to deface property with it, but deface property with it. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to be back with JT follows JC. That should be a fun episode. All right, guys. Peace out.
The greatest hypnotist on planet Earth is a oblong box in the corner of the room. It is constantly telling us what to believe is real. If you can persuade people that what they see with their eyes is what there is to see, you got them. Because they'll laugh in the face of an explanation that portrays the bigger picture of what's happening. And they have.